えーっと、天神5番地の。
Let's see. Tension 5.
これ23だよな。
Is
それとも33か？
that a 23 or is it a 33?
まったく。山崎先生の字は読みづらいな。
Mr. Yamazaki's handwriting is atrocious. This really wasn't my day. I knocked over my alarm clock this morning, and of course it stopped working. The very last pork sandwich sold out right before my eyes during lunch, and I was roped into a favor when I happened upon my homeroom teacher, Mr. Yamazaki, long after the school day had ended. So now, like it or not, I was on my way to deliver some notes to Miss Yui, our homeroom TA, who was out sick with a cold.
後でゆかに謝らないとな。
I'll have to make sure I apologize to Yuka later.
今日は早く帰ってゆかの買い物に付き合ってやる予定だったし。
I know how disappointed she'll be that I'm missing our shopping date.
天神5番地23の11。
Tension 523, number 11. Found it.
これが6番地33の77とかじゃなければだけど。
As long as this doesn't actually read 633, number 77 anyway. I stopped and compared the memo in my hand with the apartment building in front of me. It was 2 stories tall and looked a little on the shabby side. Probably about 20 years old. It didn't seem very solid, nor was it particularly stylish or chic. It was a completely unremarkable structure in every way.
ここの207号室。いや、201?
Apartment 207, or is that 201? I was really getting fed up with his handwriting, and from the teacher no less. It's not like he's a doctor. In any case, it seemed certain that the apartment was on the 2nd floor, so I trudged up the startlingly narrow, steep stairs. The metal staircase was thoroughly blotched with patches of rust. Why would someone live in such a run-down apartment building?
先生の給料って
'Cause money.
もしかしてすごく安かったりするのか？
Are teachers' salaries really that low? I felt a little sorry for her, but in a way, this place kind of fit her personality. With that thought in mind, I turned my attention towards apartment 201.
ここが201号室か。でもゆい先生の家じゃないな。
Here we are, 201. Yeah, this doesn't look like Miss Yui's place. The door plate for the room nearest to the stairs had a name I didn't recognize scribbled on
って
it.
ことはこの奥か。
Guess that means we try door number 2. Passing room 201, I continued down the narrow walkway towards the end. Wandering alone around an apartment building I'd never been to before made me feel kind of nervous. It wasn't like I was doing anything wrong, but my back still tensed up as I maneuvered around piled up strollers, plastic toys, and bundles of newspapers. And then finally I arrived at the last door.
ここだ。
Bingo! This was it. I breathed a sigh of relief. The door plate for apartment 207 read Shishido. For an adult's handwriting especially, the letters were rounded and overly cutesy. This was Miss Yui's place, all right.
なんだろうこれ。
What's this? I leaned to read something written on small script in the corner of the door plate.
愛病注意
Beware of cat?
って猛犬注意じゃなくて
Shouldn't that be beware of dog?
ゆい先生らしいや。
That's Miss Yui for you. So how exactly does one beware a house cat? Is it even possible for a house cat to be threatening? Yes. At any rate, I confirmed beyond a shadow of a doubt that this was Miss Yui's place, so my errand was nearing its
そ
end.
れにしても山崎先生もひどいよな。
What was Mr. Yamazaki thinking
風
anyway?
邪ひいたクラスメートにプリント持っていくならわかるけど、風邪ひいた副担の先生のうちに授業のノートを届けろって。
I understand taking handouts to sick classmates, but delivering class notes to the home of an absent teacher?
絶対におかしい。間違いなくこれ担任の仕事だよ。
That just seems weird. This isn't something a student should be doing. He'd said he was busy with meetings though, and really needed one of his students to help him out. But was it really okay to entrust a school student with confidential class notes?
これ、生徒が読んじゃまずいノートなんじゃないのか？
Wouldn't it be kind of a problem if I were to read these? My mind kept drifting from one question to another, and I'd become acutely aware of the inherent value in these notes I'd held in my bag. But tempting as it was, I just couldn't bring myself to look at them. Mr. Yamazaki put his faith in me after all. And I was stronger than that. I couldn't let this get the best of me. At any rate, I was here. I should have just been able to drop off the notes and be on my way. Putting all my doubts and misgivings aside, I rang the doorbell. Why didn't you just put him in the mail slot? And then I waited, and waited, and waited some more, but there was no answer.
俺、呼び鈴をしたよな。
It did ring, didn't it?
ゆい先生！
Miss Yui? I rang the bell again and also tried calling out. But there was still no response.
どうしよう。寝てんのかな？
What should I do? Maybe she's sleeping.
起こしちゃ悪いけど、でも心配だしな。
I don't want to wake her, but I am a little concerned. When we'd heard that Miss Yui was staying home sick today, we were all pretty disappointed. That's why part of me was actually a little happy that I was asked to run these over to her. I figured I'd be able to check in and see how she was doing and let everyone at school know that she was feeling
け
better.
ど会えないっていうのは想定外だったな。
It never occurred to me that I might not even be able to see her though.
ゆい先生！ゆい先生！
Miss Yui?
反応なしか。
Nothing, huh?
ゆい先生。すみません。
Miss Yui? Hello? She was probably sleeping, or out at the doctor's or something, but what if she were hurt? I tried opening the mail slot and peeking in. I thought maybe I could get a glimpse of the room
ゆい
inside.
先生。
Miss Yui? It felt kind of wrong peeking into someone's house without their permission. But I was legitimately worried about Miss Yui's health, so my conscience was clear on this one.
猫。
Oh, the cat. A well-groomed cat was facing the door and staring back at me. With its head tilted slightly to the side, it let out an adorable meow. This must be the cat I was instructed to beware. And since Miss Yui was always going on and on about her little buddy, I was pretty sure I remembered his name.
この子が噂のモレじゃなくて、確か
You're Moray, right? Or no, it's Monet, I think.
そうだ、モネちゃんだ。へえ、綺麗な猫だな。
Yeah, Monet. What a pretty kitty you are, Monet. Miss Yui talked about her cat a lot in class, so pretty much the whole school had heard of him. She even had some tins of cat food hidden on the shelf in the classroom, probably because she bought too much and had no room for them in her apartment.
モネ、モネ。先生はいるか？
Here, kitty kitty. Monet? Monet, is Miss Yui home?
先生がいるんだったら、起こしてきてほしいんだ。
If she's home, would you mind waking her up for me?
モネ、頼むよ。
That's a good kitty.
やっぱり無理か。そりゃそうだよな。
Yeah, didn't think that would work. My shoulders sank. I felt defeated. What the hell was I doing? I closed the mail slot and stood back up.
弱ったな。ゆい先生、どうしたんだろう。
Damn, I hope Miss Yui's alright.
どっか外出中とか？
She's probably just out right now or something.
開いてたりしないかな。
Which could mean the door's locked, I'm sure. Or would mean. Lost in this speculation, I placed my hand on the doorknob, and with a quick twist, I turned it and pushed the door opening it easily.
え？鍵、かかってないのか？
It wasn't locked?
うわ、いけね。
Crap, that's not good.
モネが出たら大変だ。
I can't let Monet get out.
お前のご主人様は不用心だ
Your
な。鍵もかけてないなんて。
Your master is pretty careless, huh? Leaving the door unlocked like that. Monet's whiskers twitched as I called out to him from the entranceway.
なんだ？その通りだにゃって。
What's that you say? She is?
モネもやっぱりそう思うか。
You and I are on the same page, Monet. Here I was talking to a cat. Is this what I'd become?
どうしよう。
What should I do? I was feeling pretty uneasy. Not only had I peeped in someone's home, I'd walked in without a second thought. Moreover, this was where Miss Yui lived, alone. In other words, a woman's apartment. No matter how many times I reminded myself that I was here on an errand, I couldn't help feeling that I'd not only crossed a line, but leaped over it.
ゆい先生。
Miss Yui! I tried calling her name one last time, but as expected, there was no answer.
本当にどうしようかな。
So what now? I was trying hard to avoid being too nosy, but my eyes inevitably began surveying the room. The apartment entrance led out immediately into the kitchen, and beyond that there was a sliding door to some other room. I could see the light through the gaps. I strained my ears, but there was nothing to hear, no signs of life whatsoever. Miss Yui really must have been out. One more time. I tried calling out to her just one more time, just to put my concerns at ease. I felt like I'd seem even more suspicious if I stayed silent.
ゆい先生、持田です。
Miss Yui, it's Mochida. Still nothing. Maybe she was asleep on the other side of that door.
確かめてみ。いや。
Let's just have a little look-see. Wait. Shaking my head furiously, I cast out that sudden impulse. That was a terrible idea, pure and simple. Entering the apartment unannounced was bad enough, but walking all the way in, opening that sliding door and peeking inside, that was just too much.
っていうか、このタイミングでゆい先生が外から帰ってきたりしたら、俺結構まずい。
Man, if Miss Yui happened to come home and find me standing here, I'd be in pretty hot water, huh?
じゃなくて、だいぶまずい。
No, scratch that. I'd be in plentiful, dense, scalding water. Monet meowed as if in agreement. Panicking, I once again surveyed my surroundings. I almost felt like there was eyes on me, staring with disdain. But of course, nobody was there.
あ、そうだ。書き置きを残していけばいいんじゃないか？
Oh, right, I can just leave a note. Wondering why I didn't think of this sooner, I dug into my bag for some paper and a pen.
山崎先生から頼まれたのでって書いておけばいいんだよな。
Mr. Yamazaki asked me to come by. That should be enough, right?
俺のノートでいいや。
I'll just use some notebook paper.
ゆい先生、
Let's see, Miss Yui. Crouching in the doorway, I ran my pen across the page. I brought class notes at Mr. Yamazaki's behest. Everyone has been worried about you. Sorry about barging into your apartment.
あと、不用心だから鍵はかけた方がいいと思いますと。
Please don't forget to lock your door from now on. As I was writing the note, I sensed a presence in front of me. Until just a moment ago, this house had no signs of human life in it, but now I could feel someone standing directly ahead. Standing and looking down at me. Huh? Fidgeting nervously, I put down my pen, raised my head slowly, and saw white, slender, Shocked, I shot my head up, and there, standing before me, was Miss Yui.
先生。
Miss Yui? She was looking right at me, but she seemed decidedly out of sorts. Her hair looked disheveled, her gaze was unsteady, and her pajamas were in complete disarray. She was like a completely different person from the usual Kempt educator we'd come to know and love.
ゆい先生、俺勝手に入っちゃって。
Miss Yui, I'm so sorry to have entered your apartment without permission. Here. I stood up frantically and held out the note I'd been writing. But Miss Yui was just standing there, stupefied, with a completely vacant expression on her face.
先生
Miss Yui? I called out to her as gently as I could. But she was really dazed. She seemed almost like a ghost.
先生どうしちゃったんだよ
Miss Yui, what happened to you? I had a sudden uneasy feeling. Worried, I walked up to Miss Yui, grabbed her shoulders, and tried to snap her out of it by shaking her. But instead...
Whoa!
Oh, now you're gonna get sick, Satoshi. This just seemed to make her cough.
Sensei!
Hey, Miss Yui! These were wet, productive coughs, and spit was shooting out of Miss Yui's mouth with each one. I frantically tried to shield my face from the spray, but my reaction time just wasn't quick enough. I put a hand to her cheek and found it thick with a slimy film of saliva. Are you okay, Miss Yui? Miss Yui hobbled back a little, then fell to her knees with a thud. She had completely sprawled out in the hallway, moaning and groaning this whole time.
Sensei?
Miss Yui? Wiping the spatterings from my own face, I leaned over and took a better look at her. Shit, sorry, I pressed the wrong button. It was bright red. Strained breathing, a stuffy nose, and a visibly high fever on top of it. On top of it all. She was sick as could be. I'm cold.
寒いのでも汗かいてるよ
Cold? But you're dripping with sweat.
寒い
It's cold. I thought maybe her sweat had cooled her down, but then I realized her disheveled pajamas certainly weren't doing her any favors. With heart pounding a mile a minute and face red as a traffic light, I set about buttoning her up.
ゆい先生俺のことわかる持田だよ
Miss Yui, you know who this is, right? It's Mochida from school.
寒いならちゃんと布団で寝ないと
If you're cold, you need to sleep under your covers.
出ないと治るもんも治らないって
Otherwise, you won't get any better. She absent-mindedly extended her shaking arms like a zombie, slowly reopened her eyes and looked up at me. It was the gaze of a severely fevered mind.
ゆい先生
Miss Yui?
Tsukasa-kun!
Tsukasa!
え
What?
うわ
Tsukasa-kun! Tsukasa-kun!
え
Miss Yui was clinging to me tightly. I couldn't move. I was frozen in shock. She began to weep.
来てくれたのね Tsukasa-kun!
You've come for me, Tsukasa?
つかさ
Who's Tsukasa?
嬉しいよかった
What a lovely surprise.
先生
I'm
待って
so glad
人
you're
違いだ
here.
よ
Miss Yui, wait, you've got the wrong person. It seemed like I wasn't getting through to her at all, and the sensation of her chest as she held me was making it virtually impossible to fight her grip. I was utterly powerless against this opponent. I'd never realized before just how soft a woman's chest really was. God, am I that weak-willed? I had to remind myself that Miss Yui had me confused with someone else. Mustering all the strength I could, I gripped her arms and tried to pry them off of me. But she was a lot stronger than I had anticipated and wouldn't let me get away.
怖かったよ Tsukasa-kun 怖かった
I was so scared, Tsukasa. I was so scared.
怖かった
Scared?
まさか来てくれるなんて思わなかった。
I never thought you'd actually come.
うわ
As she squeezed me tightly, I felt as though my upper body might collapse under the pressure of her softest parts. I was blushing uncontrollably.
ゆい先生、ちょっと離れて。
Miss Yui, please, let go! No, I won't!
先生ってばー。
Come on, Miss Yui. I struggled to wriggle free, but Miss Yui only grabbed me tighter. Our bodies were getting more and more intertwined, and every time I squirmed, Miss Yui would just pull me in even closer.
うわ
As her chest rose and fell erratically, droplets of sweat slid down onto her cleavage. I could feel the heat of her fever radiating off of her steadily encroaching face, as well as the shoulders I'd grabbed in an effort to push away.
そばにいて、司くん。お願い。
Stay here with me, Tsukasa, please.
だから人違い。
I'm telling you, you've got the wrong person. Questions were swirling in my head. Why was Miss Yui crying? Who was this Tsukasa person? But I was most concerned with the state of her pajamas, which had become even more disheveled during our struggle.
先生、パジャマ、ズボン。
Miss Yui, your pajamas, your pants.
ずり落ちてるから。
They're sliding down. Oh god.
司くん、あったかい。
Tsukasa, you're so warm.
ゆい先生ってばー。
Miss Yui, please. Please, Miss Yui. Realizing that not a single word was getting through to her, I sighed resignedly. I'd taken care of Yuka any number of times when she'd caught a cold and drawn a fever, but I don't recall it ever getting this bad. Miss Yui was usually calm, collected, and rational. Who would ever imagine that a fever could leave her so thoroughly discombobulated?
ゆい先生、ちょっと。もう。
Miss Yui, seriously, pull yourself together. I put more strength into my resistance, and finally her arms relaxed just the tiniest bit. But her expression changed drastically.
やだ。
No, please.
先生。俺は持田聡で、司って人じゃ。
Miss Yui, I'm Satoshi Mochida, not this.
やだ。
Please don't go, please. Miss Yui was acting like a spoiled child. Slipping out of the shoes I'd still been wearing, I drew close to her sprawled out form again. There was no way I could just leave her here like
後で気
this.
がついて、怪しまないでくれよ。
I sure hope none of this seems too sketchy after your fever breaks. Miss Yui let out a lethargic groan, perhaps in response to my quiet murmurings. At my wit's end, I grabbed hold of her and did my best to carry her into the back room. Gently wheeling her over to the unfurled futon, I then carefully laid her down, making sure I didn't drop her in the process. Then there was the matter of rebuttoning those pesky pajamas again. I hesitantly pulled up her pajama bottoms and brushed away the stray hairs that were plastered to her brow with sweat. I'd done my best to avoid seeing anything I shouldn't, but I am a guy, so my heart was pounding the whole time. Miss Yui's pajamas were soaked through with sweat. She really might have been better off with the change of clothes altogether. But no, that would have been going way too far.
タオルとか何か拭くものでもあれば。って、ん？
Wish I could find a towel or something so I could at least wipe some of that moisture away. Huh? Noticing a convenience store bag carelessly tossed to the floor, I glanced inside.
なんだ。冷却シート買ってきてあるじゃん。
Hey, she already bought cold
なん
packs.
で使ってないんだか。
Why wasn't she using them?
先
Jeez.
生、ヒヤッとするけど我慢してね。
Miss Yui, this might be a little cold, but bear with me, okay?
これでよしと。
Alright, I think that'll help. I placed one of the compresses on her forehead and pulled the covers over her. Miss Yui appeared almost instantly relieved. She exhaled contently and her breathing became more relaxed. Finally, she was asleep. Z's. Zeds. Sigh. Even in sleep, Miss Yui seemed to be suffering.
もうね。なんだ先生が心配か？
Monet, were you worried about your master? I don't blame
俺
you.
も ここまでひどいことになってるとは思わなかったよ。
When Mr. Yamazaki said she was sick, I had no idea it would be this bad. When I had coiled up on my legs without me noticing, I began absentmindedly speaking to him. He meowed in response, and our conversation ended there, as my gaze was still fixed squarely on Miss Yui.
さて、どうしようか。
So,
ゆい先生。
what do I do now? Miss Yui? More Zeds. Why are you trying to talk to someone who's sleeping?
俺、このまま帰っても大丈夫？
Are you okay to be alone right now? She wasn't in any condition to respond. But
ゆい先生。
stop! Miss Yui. You're gonna wake her up. Miss Yui's hands had slipped out from under the futon and was gently grasping my pant leg. Hey. You can literally just pull your hand away. Or pull your leg away. She's sleeping. She's sleeping! Her grip was much weaker than before, but I knew I'd probably regret it if I went home now. Why? What do you mean? Miss Yui just seemed really lonely. Well, I guess I'll settle in then. Without disturbing Miss Yui's hold on me, I took a seat beside her. For the time being, I figured I'd watch over her and make sure her condition didn't worsen. Dude, you can go. Occasionally, Miss Yui's breathing would become ragged and she'd furrow her brow. She was in a pretty bad way. Poor thing. Wasn't there anything else I could do? I glanced quietly down the hallway. I'd noticed when I carried Miss Yui here that the kitchen near the entrance was perfectly neat and tidy. There wasn't any indication that it had been used that day at all. I wonder if she's eaten anything. When his gaze shifted suddenly, I followed it and saw pet bowls laid out in the corner of the room. One dish was filled to the brim with water, and the other was piled high with dry cat food. I see someone's eating well around here, huh? Even delirious with fever, she's still taking really good care of you. But that's not good, Miss Yui. You should be thinking about your own meals first. I shook my head at the whole situation, then glanced down at Monet, who was tilting his head as if trying to understand me. I broke into a wry smile. When I'd pulled out the cold packs, I did notice some cheap convenience store food in the bag as well. I guess that was going to be her food for the day. Not exactly the best stuff to eat when you're sick. There's rice and eggs at least. Maybe I'll make egg porridge or something. Miss Yui, may I borrow your kitchen? Her face was bright red, and her half-pained, half-contented noises provided me with no clear-cut answer to my question. Don't think I'm gonna get much out of her. How about you, Monet? Do I have your permission to use the kitchen? Excellent, thank you. Monet's cries helped assuage my guilt over entering a woman's apartment and borrowing her kitchen. Not that I had any reason to feel guilty, I don't think anyway. I mean, circumstances were what they were. Still, I had this nagging sense that I should have somehow felt bad about what I was doing. Excuse me, please, Miss Yui. I'm going to need to get up. One by one, I gently peeled off each of the fingers latched onto my pant leg. The expression on her face changed as I was doing so, from contented rest to mild annoyance, but there was nothing to indicate that she might wake up. Alright then, let's see what we can do, shall we? As I stood up, Monet meowed happily and began tagging along at my heels. And Miss Yui, now resting by herself in the bedroom, let out a sudden sneeze. Book of Shadows, Episode 3, Encounter. Okay.
ちょっとゆい
Come on, Yui.
かかったよ今くしゃみ
For Gross, I just got sprayed.
ごめんごめん。なんだか鼻がムズムズするの。
Sorry, I've got a real tingle in my nose today for some reason.
まったくもう。
Ugh, honestly.
ティッシュ。
Tissues,
どこ
huh?
やったっけ？
Where did I put them?
ああ、なければ私の使ってよ。せめてものお詫び。
Oh, wow, did I get that much on you? Here, use some of mine. It's the least I can do. This is gross.
やった。じゃあ私使う。
Great, don't mind if I do.
私も持ってないよ。
What?
ティッシュちょうだい。
She was talking to me. May I have one too, please?
はい。
Let's see, here we go.
サンキュ
Thank you.
あんたたちね、ティッシュくらい常備しときなさいよ。
You guys really should keep extras with you, you know.
面目ない。
Well, sorry.
まったく。
Honestly.
ー。それで、何の話だっけ？
So, what were we talking about again?
そうそう。だからさ、とうとう3年になっちゃったよねって話。
You remember, we were talking about what it's like to be seniors now.
は
Oh,
あ。だね。
I
あ
know,
と
right?
1年で卒業か。
Can it really just be one more year before we graduate?
卒業もだけど、私たち、それよりもっと考えなくちゃいけないことがあるじゃない？
Well, graduation is important. Don't forget there's life afterwards to think about as well.
進路よ。
Our careers!
いやー、聞きたくない。
No, I really don't want to think about
正
that.
直さ、進路相談何回受けたって、将来のことなんかはっきりしないっていうかさ。
Well, there is a reason we've been subjected to all those career counseling sessions, and it's because our futures are just big question marks right now.
だよね。どうするかな、ほんと。
No kidding. What are we gonna do with our lives? It's scary.
ゆいはもう進路とか決めてる？
Any ideas, Yui? You have any plans for the future?
実はね、もう決めてるんだ。
Actually, I got it all figured out.
あ？
What?
なにゆい、何になりたいの？
Well, don't leave us hanging. Out with it, girl.
私はね、
Well,
私の名前は宍戸ゆい、17歳。将来の夢は先生になること。
my name is Yui Shishido. I'm 17 and my dream is to be a teacher.
あまりよく考えずに人のことに首を突っ込んでは空回ってることが多い私だけど、
I butt into the lives of others without a second thought, and I spend most of my time doing nothing
でも
important.
そんな私でもきっと頑張れば夢が叶うって信じてる。
But I believe that even someone like me can make her dreams come true with enough hard work. Kisaragi Academy 5 years ago. The cherry blossoms were in bloom and the resulting wind carried with it the soft warmth of the season. I was a high school senior now and was devoting myself to my studies in preparation for the day my dream could become a reality. And that dream was to become an English teacher. My grades were on the fence for getting into the university I wanted though. So my best bet was to score a special recommendation from the academy.
はあ、よかった。急に呼び出されたから何事かと思ったよ。
Oh, that was a lucky break. When I got called to the office, I had no clue what it might be about.
ある日の放課後、私は職員室に呼び出された。
After school one day, I was summoned to the teacher's staff room.
何かヘマをやったのかとか、成績が志望校に及ばないとか、そういう悪いことを言われるんじゃないかってビクビクしてたんだけど。
I was freaking out that maybe I'd failed or my grades weren't good enough for the school I wanted to go to or something terrible like that.
私の予想に反して呼び出された要件はとてもいいものだった。
But it turned out my fears were all for naught.
うちの学園からはライバルはいなさそうだから、このまま頑張れば推薦してやるぞ。
You have no rival in our academy, they said. So if you keep working hard, we'll be happy to give you a recommendation.
なんかやる気出てきちゃった。この調子で頑張らないとね。
Man, was that ever a pick-me-up? I feel like I could take on the world now. I'm gonna have to make sure I don't let this chance slip me by.
それにしてもゴミ箱ってどうしてこんなに重たいんだろう。
So, this trash can. Why exactly is it so ridiculously heavy again?
ゴミ捨て場まで持っていくのも一苦労だよ。
Carrying this beast to the dumpster is going to be the death of me.
なあ、
Hey,
突然声をかけられて ゴミ箱を抱えたまま振り返る。それは今まで話したことのない男子生徒だった。
I turned around.
見かけたことなら何度もある。
I turned around, still holding the garbage can. The voice belonged to a male student I had never spoken with before. I'd seen him around a lot, though.
彼は7組の三國司くんだ。
His name was Tsukasa Mikuni from class 7.
そこ、足元。根っこが出てるから気をつけな。
Watch your step. There's a root sticking out of the ground there, and it's pretty easy to trip on. What? Ah!
あー、
Oh.
ちょっと、そこ笑うとこ？
Hey, what's the big idea of laughing at someone else's misfortune?
だってよ。
Well, it's continuing laughing.
もう、そこはさ、大丈夫かとか聞いてくれたって。
It's not funny. Shouldn't you be asking if I'm okay or something?
悪い悪い。
My bad, my bad.
あ、いいよ、そんな。手が汚れるよ。
Oh, you don't have to help clean up. You'll get your hands dirty.
別にいいよ、そんくらい。笑った詫びに手伝う。
Don't worry about it. It's the least I can do after laughing like
あ
that.
りがとう。
Thanks.
うん。これで全部拾い終えたか？
No prob. That should be everything, right?
もう大丈夫。
Yeah, looks like it.
じゃ、行くぞ！
Cool, let's go then.
あ、
I remember it well, even now. This was my first time talking with Tsukasa, and he left a strong first impression on
ご
me.
めん、重たいよね。
That's really kind of you. Isn't it heavy, though?
別に。
Not especially.
やっぱり自分で。
I am the one assigned to take it. Maybe I should...
いいって。
It's fine, really.
はい、終了。
There. Everything in its place.
ありがとう。助かったよ。
Thank you so much. You were a huge help.
じゃあな。
Catch you around.
あ、ちょっと待って。
Hey, hold up.
あ？
お礼させてよ。
I feel like I should do something nice for you in return.
いいよ、女の。これくらいで。
Don't worry about it. Your thanks is plenty.
いいから。ちょっと待っててね。
Look, just wait there a sec, okay?
ん？
友達が増えるというのは嬉しいし、楽しい。その相手が三國司くんというのも嬉しかった。司くんのことは実は少し気になっていたから。
Making a new friend is always great, but when it happens to be Tsukasa Mikuni, it's all the better. He'd kind of been on my mind for a while.
よいしょ。
Go! Most of the times I'd seen Tsukasa before this were in the school courtyard. He spent a lot of time there sitting alone on the bench. Even after school or during summer vacation, if I happened to pass by, I would always see him there. And after this encounter, we'd go on to make many fond memories together. Yet somehow, the image of Tsukasa that stands out the most in my mind is of him seated alone in that courtyard bench.
はい、どうぞ。コーヒー牛乳でよかった。
For you, I hope Cafe au lait is alright.
まあ、なんでもいいけど。サンキュー。
Sure, I guess. Anything's fine, really. Thanks.
これは私からのお礼なんだから、黙って受け取ってくれればいいの。
You know, it's customary when receiving a gift to quietly accept it without any offhanded
義理
remarks.
がたいやつ。
Well, aren't we a stickler for tradition? We walked to the bench together, sat down, and began making small talk. The courtyard bench was sort of a mystical place. The leaves rustled over your head, and if you closed your eyes and opened your ears, it felt as though you were in the middle of some forest. And then, if you looked straight up, the sunlight poured in through the leaves, and you almost felt like you were in another world.
初めて座ったよ、このベンチ。
This is the first time I've ever actually sat on one of these benches.
なかなかいいだろ？
It's pretty nice, right?
素敵な場所。
It's lovely.
だよな。
Yeah, it really is.
だからなの？
Oh, so is that why?
この時間とか昼休みとかよくここにいるでしょ。
Well, you come here an awful lot, right? Like even after school and during summer vacation.
あ
I sure do.
この場所好きなんだね。
So you must really like this place then,
あ、
huh?
まあね。
Yeah, I guess I do.
そっか。
Well, then there we go. The leaves rustled as a gentle breeze blew between us. We were both silent for a bit, but strangely, it didn't feel awkward or uncomfortable.
聞かないのか？
So, aren't you gonna ask? Ask
い
what?
つも一人で何してんだって。
What I'm always doing here by myself or something.
この場所が好きだからいつもここにいるんだよね。
You're always here because you like this spot, right?
そうだけどさ。
Well, yeah.
他に何か理由があったりするの？
Is there some other reason
な
then?
いよ。
Not really.
じゃあ聞く必要ないじゃない。
So what would be the point of me asking?
そうだけど、ほら、普通聞くだろ？
Well,
一人
you
で
got
そ
me
んな
there.
んつまらなくないかとか、意味わかんねえとか、変わってるなとか。
Well, you've got me there, but people normally ask me if it's boring being here by myself, or tell me they don't get it, or say I'm a weirdo or something.
そんなこと思わなかったな。ここが好きなら一人でいたって別に変じゃないよね。
Really? I don't know. I guess I just don't think of it that way. The way I see it, if you like it here, then why not come here whenever you can?
お前、変わってるな。
Guess that makes you the weirdo then.
え？
What?
いや、そんな顔しなくても、今のは俺的褒め言葉だから。
Hey, don't make that face. Coming from me, it's a compliment.
変わってるが褒め言葉？
What? Calling someone a weirdo is supposed to be a compliment?
そうそう。
You bet it is.
なんか納得いかないな。
I'm not sure I buy that.
もう
You're mean. The expression on Tsukasa's face was a dead giveaway that he really enjoyed talking to me, and I've always loved the feeling what I get when I know my words helped brighten someone's day. I must have been sporting one hell of a goofy smile at that moment.
本当はさ、この学校でもっと好きな場所があるんだよ。
Actually, there's a place at the school that I like even more than here.
どんなところ？
Oh, where's that?
秘密、
I'm not telling. What?
とっておきだからな。
It's my special
っ
place.
てことはそこも超素敵な場所なんだよね。
Which means it must be a totally awesome place, right?
あ
Yep.
いいな。どこ？気になるよ。
Oh, I really want to see it. Come on.
あ、ダメ。そう簡単には教えない。
No
それ
way.
に、いつでも見れるってもんじゃないんだ。そこの景色。
I can't spill the beans that easy. Besides, the view there isn't nearly as consistent.
司くんは笑いながら紙パックのジュースを飲み干すとベンチから立ち上がった。そして目の前にあったゴミ箱をひょいっとつかみ私を振り返る。
Laughing, Tsukasa finished up his drink and then grabbed the now empty trash can he carried to the dumpster for me.
コーヒーをおごってもらったしな。ついでに教室まで運んでやるよ。
You treated me to coffee, so please allow me to take this up to the classroom for you.
いいの？
What? Are you sure?
ああ、
You bet.
ありがとう。あ、私のクラスはね。
Thanks. I'm in
4
class
組だろ？知ってるよ。
4, if I'm not mistaken.
シシドユイっつったら有名だからな。
You're the famous Yui Shishido, after all.
どうして？
How did you?
今から先生みたいな女子がいるって、12クラス全部で有名だよ。
You're that girl who already looks like she could be a teacher. I don't think there's a student in any of our 12 classes who doesn't know your name. What?
それから私と司くんは何度か中庭で会っては話をした。
From then
校舎
on,
の中ではすれ違ってもほとんど話すことがないのに中庭では不思議と話が弾む。
Tsukasa and I met in that courtyard many times. We didn't really talk in the halls, but something about that place spurred our conversation.
あ、またお前コーヒー牛乳かよ。
Cafe LA again?
好きすぎだろ、コーヒー牛乳。
Doesn't that get a little old?
そんなことないよ。
Not really.
1日に最低2本は飲んでるくせにか？
You drink at least 2 a day though, right?
なんで知ってるの？
Hey, how'd you know that?
自販機でいつもそれ買ってるの。ここから見えるんだよ。
Seen it with my own eyes. There's a perfect view of the vending machine from here after all. There is?
ほら、 そっち見てみ。
Yeah, I mean, it's right
本
there.
当だ。
Oh, wow, no kidding.
昼休みも放課後もいつもシシドがコーヒー牛乳買ってるのバッ
Doesn't
チ
matter
リ
if
見
it's
てた
after
か
school
ら
or summer break. Shishido buying cafe LA is like old faithful. You can set your watch by it.
そんなことを言ったら、私だって司くんがここのベンチに座ってるのいつも見てたよ。
Well, then I guess we're even since I always see you sitting on this bench.
いや知ってるけどなんでまた言う？
What? You're back on that again?
お互い気になってたんだな。
Sure am. Guess I just find it interesting that we both took notice of each other's quirky habits.
なんだそりゃ。
Weirdo.
中庭での会話は他愛のないものがほとんどだった。教室で友達と繰り広げる会話みたいにあまり中身がなくて、でもすごく楽しくて。
Our conversations in the courtyard were usually just silly. It was like talking to a good friend in class, shallow but genuinely enjoyable.
この場所、夏でも結構涼しいね。
It's always so cool here, even in summer.
夏とか言うな。
Ugh, don't mention summer.
あれ？夏嫌い？
Why, you don't like it?
夏季講習が目前に迫ってたら誰でも嫌いになるだろ
Not with summer school right around the corner. That'd be enough to make anyone run for the hills.
まあね。私たち3年生だもんね。夏だからって遊んではいられないよね。
I guess so, but we're seniors now. It comes with the territory, you know? The time for fun and games is
う。
over.
お前は随分と楽しそうだけどな。
I don't know. You seem like you're still having a lot of fun to me.
私は夢に近づいてるって実感できて嬉しいよ。
Well, I'm a bit of a special case. I'm just happy because I feel like my dream might actually come true.
ふん。
Oh?
私ね、人に勉強を教えるの好きなんだ。頼られるのも好き。
I just enjoy teaching things to people and having others depend on me.
なんで？
Why's
お
that?
姉さんになった感じがするからかな。ほら、私一人っ子だし。
I guess it makes me feel like a big sister or something, and since I'm an only child, you know.
ああ、うん。まあ頑張れば。
Okay. Well, good luck with that
う
then.
ーわ、すっごいどうでもよさそう。
Wow, that was about as dismissive a comment as you can get.
だって人事だしな。
Hey, not like I can do anything about it, you know?
そんなことを言いながらも、司くんはやっぱり優しかった。だって、私の夢を笑ったりはしなかったから。
Despite his occasional boorishness, I still felt that Tsukasa was a kind soul. If nothing else, he never actually laughed at my dream.
先生になりたいって夢を話すと、大抵の人は笑ったり、茶化したりで、あんまり真剣に聞いてくれない。
And in the high school crowd, most people don't take you very seriously when you say you're trying to become a
だ
teacher.
けど、司くんは一度も笑わなかったんだ。
Tsukasa just wasn't like most people, I guess. The season was quickly turning to autumn. Why are you crying? After the school day ended, the senior floor was always a lot more quiet than its underclassmen counterparts. Everyone was off studying hard in the library or with tutors. So one day, thinking no one else was around, I sat down in a lonely corner of the hallway. Initially, I had grabbed my shoes and left the classroom, intending to head home, but along the way I just started crying. I was overwhelmed. My sobs echoed from one end of the hallway to the other.
この日、私は無事に志望校の推薦枠に入れてもらえることになった。
That day, I'd finally received a special recommendation to my top choice
嬉しく
university.
て仕方がなかった私は、すぐに友達に報告した。けれど、いつもなら手放しで喜んでくれるその子が、ふと表情を曇らせた。
I was so excited I just wanted to tell someone, so I told my friend Tomo, but her usually supportive demeanor took a somewhat harsher edge.
私の前でそんなこと言うんだ。まだ私は夢も何も決まってないのに。
Stop rubbing it in my face. You know I'm still totally undecided about my future, right?
多分、私はひどくショックを受けた顔になっていたのだと思う。巴はすぐにハッとしたように目を見開き、慌てて謝ってくれた。
My expression must have changed pretty drastically. Tomo's eyes suddenly widened and she quickly
だから
apologized.
私も笑って気にしてないよってそう言ったのだけれど、
So I smiled and told her I didn't care. That's what I said anyway.
気にしてないわけがない。巴の言葉と表情が鋭い針のようになって私の胸をつく。
But how couldn't I care? Tomo's dismissive words struck me like a dagger to my chest.
私、考えなしだったのかな。
So insensitive sometimes.
他のみんなも同じこと思ってた。
I wonder if everyone else feels the same about me. I kept wiping the tears from my eyes, only for new ones to take their place immediately. Why didn't I think of this sooner? So many people were still facing uncertain futures with no real goals in mind, and I was completely oblivious to it. I was the one with the dream, running around like the cock of the walk when babbling about my success and aspirations. I wouldn't blame them if they hated me. Could someone that insensitive to the feelings of so many other people really become a teacher? Did I ever even have what it takes to begin with?
シシド？
声をかけられて振り向くと、そこには司くんが立っていた。
I quickly turned toward the voice that had called out to me and found Tsukasa standing
い
there.
つもは廊下であっても言葉を交わすことなんてないのに、こ
We
の日
never said
は
a word
ご
before.
く自然に声をかけてくれた。
We never said a word before when passing each other in the hall, but he spoke to me that day with no reservations, as if we were old chums.
司くん。
すごい顔だぞ。ハンカチは？
Your face is a mess. Do you have a handkerchief?
持ってる。
Yeah.
じゃあ、顔拭けよ。
Then wipe your face. Okay.
司くんが戸惑っている空気がひしひしと伝わってきた。彼を困らせたくなかったから、私はこぼれ落ちていこうとする涙を必死に拭う。
Tsukasa's concern and confusion was clearly written on his face. I didn't want to cause him any trouble or worry him, so I began frantically wiping my
何
eyes.
かあったのか？
Did something happen?
何もないよ。
No, everything's fine.
何かあったからそんなに泣いてんだろ？
You're crying an awful lot for someone who's got no problems.
これは、友達とちょっと気まずくなっちゃって。
No, it's just there was a little misunderstanding between a friend and I.
でも、すぐに仲直りしたから大丈夫。これはさ、そう、嬉し涙みたいなものだから。
But we patched it up right away, so it's all right. Really, these are, sometimes something like tears of happiness, I
ふ
guess.
ーん。
Hmm.
嬉し涙って言えばね、私、推薦枠に入れることになっ
Yep. See, I just found out that I got that I'm not sure if I did it out of respect for Tsukasa or because I wanted to change the subject, but I cut myself off mid-sentence. I was doing it again. What was I thinking? Now even Tsukasa was going to hate me for being for being a braggart. Hell, I hated myself. I was the worst, just the worst.
マジか！
Whoa, really? He was happy for me. A bit taken aback, I nodded firmly.
やったじゃんか！おめでとう！
You did it then. Congrats.
うん。ありがとう。
Yeah. Thanks.
お、
ありがと
Thank you.
だから、なんで泣くんだよ。
So what's with the waterworks?
ふぅまだ推薦枠が決まったってだけで、推薦入試があるんだろ？
Even with the recommendation, you still have to take an entrance exam, right? Yeah.
嬉し泣きするほど喜ぶにはまだ早いだろ
So isn't it a little early to be crying tears of joy?
う。そうだよね。
Yeah. Maybe so.
でも、そうやっておめでとうって言ってもらえたから、なんか、嬉しくて。
I'm just really happy that you congratulated me.
う。たく、
Oh, come on now.
ごめんね。
Sorry.
何が？
For what?
泣いたりして。わけわかんないよね。
For crying like this without even knowing why.
そう思ってんなら、早く泣きやめって。
If you don't know why you're doing it, then how about you hurry up and dry those eyes?
もう大丈夫だから。
Sure. I think I'm fine now anyway.
たく、
I swear. As I rubbed my swollen eyes, a smile broke through and Tsukasa let out an exasperated sigh. Then, as if suddenly remembering something, his eyes lit up.
そうだ、シシド。ちょっと待ってろ。
Oh, hey, wait here a sec.
うん。
Okay. Tsukasa ran into his classroom, quickly reappearing in the hall again just moments later. He was holding something.
お前にこれやるよ。
Here. I want you to have this.
鉛筆
A pencil? In his outstretched hand rested a short, stubby little pencil, not the sort of thing you'd expect someone to go out of their way to lend you. It was pocked here and there with small scratches, but it still seemed to be in relatively decent shape, considering how obviously well worn it
受験
was.
必勝鉛筆。
A pencil for guaranteed success.
受験必勝
Guaranteed success?
これ使うと試験に受かるんだよ。
Use it on your test and you'll pass for sure. What?
本当に
Really?
ああ、如月学園に受かるのは難しいって言われてた俺がこれ使って受かったんだから間違いないよ。
Yep, they told me I never passed the entrance exam for Kisaragi Academy, but well, here I am, and I owe it all to this
じ
pencil.
ゃあこれ司くんが高校入試の時に使った鉛筆なんだ。
So, this is the same pencil you were using back when you took your high school application tests?
そう、経験新たかな鉛筆だぜ。
Sure is. It really jerked out a miracle.
霊言新たか。ね
I assume you mean worked out a miracle, right? Not that that's a thing either.
あ、それだ。
Yeah, that.
それじゃあ借りるね。ありがとう。
At any rate, I shall happily take you up on your kind offer. Thanks.
言っとくけど、貸すのは推薦入試までだからな。一般入試の時は俺が使うから返してもらう。
But listen, I'm only lending it to you until you finish your test. You'll have to give it back afterwards so I can use it for my entrance exams. Okay.
だから推薦絶対受かれよ。
Whatever you do, don't fail the exam. Right. That doesn't look as bad as you
鉛筆を受け取
described
り
it.
笑顔でうなずく。今度は司くんも笑ってくれた。
I took the pencil and nodded, smiling. This time, Tsukasa returned my smile.
人の気持ちまで勝手に思いやって背負い込んで、悲しみまで自分のものにして、お前みたいなのが先生になれたらいいのにな。
You're a really unique person, you know that? It's hard to believe how much you let other people's problems get to you. You'll make an amazing teacher. What? For a moment, I had no idea what he was talking about, but then it hit me. Tsukasa had somehow sussed out from our conversation that I was crying because I'd upset Tomoe. Tomoe? I don't know. Tomoe? And he was turning that fact around to offer me
頑
encouragement.
張れよ。負けんなよ。
Good luck. Don't let it get to you.
頑張れって言葉は辛い時にはプレッシャーになるから言っちゃダメってよく聞く。
I heard you shouldn't wish someone luck in times of stress, as it just adds to more pressure, but that's why people tell actors to break a leg
けれ
instead.
ど私はこの優しい言葉が大好きだった。
But I didn't care. Taboo or no, I cherished his kind words.
私頑張るね、司くん。
I'll do my best, Tsukasa.
お
Glad to hear it.
この日から私はどんどん司くんに惹かれていった。
That's when I really started to fall for him.
彼は全然そっけなくてちっとも振り向いてはくれなかったけれど。
But it didn't seem like he had noticed, and there wasn't really any indication that he felt the same way anyway. I can still clearly recall the events of that day, even now. It was October, the day before my entrance exam. The weather outside had been miserable since morning, and visibility was all but non-existent. It would be a bad omen if I were to slip and fall on the day before the exam, so I decided I'd wear boots to school just to be safe.
行ってきます。
See you later! Nagito? When I opened the door, I was shocked to see a white-haired old woman lying on the ground, soaked to the bone. I frantically rushed over to her side.
おばあさん、大丈夫ですか？
Are you okay? Stay with me. Come on, tell me what happened. Was it a hit and run? The road running by my house was narrow and mostly used only by our neighbors. but it's not like it was closed off to outside traffic or anything, so a hit and run wasn't out of the question. I looked over the old woman's body as best as I could. Fortunately, there were no signs of any serious
よ
injury.
かった事故とかじゃないみたい
Doesn't seem like a car accident, at least.
娘
Young lady.
はい
Yes?
今日は学校へ行ってはならん
You must not go to school today. What?
絶対に行ってはならん
Absolutely must not go. The old woman raised herself up slightly and spoke hoarsely. From the tone of her voice, she seemed terribly
あ
desperate.
のだけど今日は面接の最後の練習があってね
But I have to today. Today is my last chance to practice for a college entrance interview.
行ってはならんと言っている
No, just stay home. Don't go.
そういうわけにはいかないよ面接は私が一番苦手とする試験だから
I have to go. The interview is the part of the exam I'm worst at.
それよりおばあちゃんどうしたのお家の人は
Tell me what's wrong. Where is your family?
どうしてもか
Will I?
どうしても行くというのか
Will you go? No matter what?
うん
Yeah.
ならばせめ
Please.
て
Please. Not knowing what to say, I nodded apprehensively as the old woman began digging through her pockets. She produced what looked like a crumpled scrap of paper. As she was digging around, I noticed that her breathing had become dangerously ragged and I began considering my options to assist her. Really, I should have gone back into the house and called my mom. Or the police, 110, I think it was. But there was something about her that kept me glued to the spot. I sensed desperation hiding in that unbroken
これ
gaze.
を受け取りなされ
You must take this.
何
What is it?
お守りじゃ
A charm.
お守り
A charm? The old woman clutched my wrist so forcefully pressed the scrap of paper into my palm. Tilting my head, I unfolded the scrap and looked carefully at it. At first, I thought I had just been handed a piece of trash. What? But when I unfolded it all the way, I saw that it was actually a paper doll in the shape of a human being. And there was a name written on its torso. Yui Shishido. Yes, my name, written plain as day in easily legible
どう
brushstrokes.
して私の名前
Why? There's my name on it.
お守りだからじゃ
So it can protect you.
守る対象の名を書かねば身代わりにはならんだろう
If you don't write the name of the person you wish to protect, the charm won't work. Crazy. This was all crazy. I didn't understand any of it save for one simple fact. This old woman was here specifically to give me this strange paper charm. As far as I was aware, we were total strangers to one another, but she clearly knew both my name and my address.
やだ
No. No.
ごめんなさいせっかくだけど私これいらないから
I'm sorry. I know you came a long way to give this to me, but I don't want it.
いらないじゃあ
You don't want it? As I extended my arm to return the paper doll, I could sense her entire demeanor had changed. She raised her body and up unsteadily from the wet asphalt.
どうしてじゃ
Why not?
あの
Well,
わしが身を削って訪ねてやっているのになぜ誰もわしの言うことを聞かんのじゃ
I've nearly killed myself bringing this to you. Why will no one listen to me?
受け取らぬなら絶対に天神賞に行ってはならん
must not enter Heavenly Host Elementary without this charm.
天神症
Heavenly Host Elementary?
そうじゃ。行くな。行くな。
Yes. You must not go. Don't go! As the old woman cried out, the paper doll fluttered lightly to the ground. Almost instantaneously, it became soaked through with rainwater. The name began to smudge quickly. The name began to run and quickly turned into an illegible black smudge. Seeing this, the old woman grabbed and tore at her hair.
うわーお守りが
No!
これ
The charm!
抗う術は失われてしまった
Has been lost.
おばあちゃん落ち着いて
Ma'am, please calm down.
よいか絶対に天神症に行ってはならん
Listen, you must not go to Heavenly Host Elementary.
待っておばあちゃん私の学校は如月学園だよ天神症なんて知らない
I think there's been some mistake. My school is Kisaragi Academy High. I've never even heard of Heavenly Host Elementary. Ma'am? Oh God.
お母さん大
Mom, come quick.
変どうしたの
What's wrong?
家の前で知らないおばあちゃんが倒れてるの救急車呼んで
An old woman collapsed in front of our house. Call an ambulance.
わかったわ。
Okay. Paramedics arrived in a matter of minutes. The old woman seemed to be unconscious by that point, however, so the EMTs brought out a
お二人
stretcher.
はこの方の関係者ですか？
Do either of you know this woman?
いえ家の前で倒れていたので救急車を呼んだんです身元は分からなくて
No, she just collapsed in front of our house. We've never seen her before.
そうですか。
Alright.
では付き添いで乗車はされませんか？
Would you be willing to ride with her in the ambulance? The idea of making this old woman go to the hospital by herself just seemed like it would have been a shameful thing to do. Sure, she was a stranger, but we'd had a lengthy conversation mere minutes ago, so I couldn't very well say we had nothing to do with each other.
ゆいあんたは学校行っといで。
Yui, you need to get to school.
でも
What?
この方にはお母さんがついていくわ。
Don't
あ
worry.
んたは今日面接
I'll go
の
with her
練
to
習
the
があるんで
hospital.
しょ
You have to practice for the interview today, right? Yeah,
そうだね
I guess I do.
それじゃあお母さんお願い
Thanks, Mom. I'll leave her with you then.
Eh.
Good luck. I was a little hesitant, but I knew I really had to go to school today no matter what. So I left the strange woman in my mom's care and, heading toward school, walked right by her stretcher. Suddenly, a hand rose from the limp form of the old woman and grabbed my skirt. Startled, I tried to jump away but found myself ensnared by her terrible bloodshot eyes.
行くな
You must not go! After school, once my final practice interview had concluded, I reunited with my friends and engaged in the usual regimen of gossip and small talk.
ってことがあってね
Can you believe that?
かわいい。
That's really scary.
何よそれ。
The hell was wrong with her? When I described the events of that morning, everyone's eyebrows rose. They were hanging on my every word and yelping in unison at key
ゆい
moments.
今日は家でおとなしくしておけばよかったんじゃない
Yui, maybe you should have stayed home today after all.
だって今日は面接の最後の練習があるからどうしても来たかったし
But I had that practice interview. I couldn't miss that, you know?
何か起きないといいけど。
I just hope nothing bad happens.
やだやめてよ何も起きないって
Oh, come on. What could happen?
思い出した
Oh, you know what?
え
天神症って言葉がちょっと引っかかってたんだけどさ七不思議に出てくるんだよね天神症
When you mentioned Heavenly Host Elementary, I thought that it sounded familiar, and I just realized why. You know the Seven Wonders, right?
七不思議ってうちの学校に伝わる如月学園七不思議のこと？
Seven Wonders? You mean those urban legends about
そう
Kisaragi?
そう
Yeah, those.
天神症って何
Does Heavenly Host of Elementary have some connection to them?
放課後のよしえさんって言うんだけど、聞いたことない？
One of the stories is called Yoshi After School. Ever heard of it?
知らない。
Definitely not.
私も知らないよ。どんな話
I've
な
never
の？
heard of it either. What's it about?
如月学園が建てられる前にこの場所にあった天神小学校での話なんだけどさ。
Well, it takes place at Heavenly Host Elementary, which once occupied the same plot of land where Kisaragi Academy now
うん
stands.
うん。
Oh, okay.
その天神小学校で放課後校舎の見回りをしていた女の先生が誤って階段から落ちて死んだんだって。
It's said that one day after school, a female teacher, Yoshi, who had been patrolling the grounds, slipped and fell down the stairs and died.
その日は10月のちょうど今日みたいに雨が降る放課後で、時刻
The
はそう
accident. Oh,
夜の7時を過ぎたあたり。
the accident took place on a rainy October day, just like this one, and occurred just after 7 at
こう
night.
いう日はよしえさんが出るんだって。
And supposedly, Yoshi still appears on days like this.
天神小学校がなくなってしまったことに気づいていないよしえさんは如月学園の廊下を見回って歩いているんだよ。
Ever unaware that she died at Heavenly Host these many years ago, she now walks the halls of Kisaragi Academy, believing them to be her own.
やだ、それ本当？
Oh, come on. No, is it true?
まあ実際見たことがある人がいるから七不思議になってるんじゃない？
Well, he wouldn't be one of the 7 wonders if someone hadn't actually seen it happen, right?
怖。
That's really creepy.
ゆい、今日はもう帰ったら？そのおばあさんの言ってたことちょっと気になるし。
Why don't you head home,
ゆいだ
Yui?
け道が違うから一緒に帰れないじゃない？
You're the only one who doesn't live nearby, so we can't walk with you, and given the stuff that old woman said to
だ
you...
ね。お年寄りの忠告は聞いておくもんだよ。
Yes, it's always best to heed the warnings of the elderly.
そうだね。
Hmm,
なんかゾワゾワしてきちゃったし、もう帰ろうかな。
you might be right. I am still feeling kind of on edge. Probably best to go home and check in with Mom.
それじゃあ先に帰るね。バイバイ。
I'll see you guys later then. Bye.
バイバイ。
See ya.
気をつけてね。
Take care.
明日ファイトだよ。
Get everything you've got tomorrow. I will.
私は慌てて荷物をまとめ教室を飛び出した。
I quickly packed up my things and rushed out of the
時
classroom.
刻は夕方5時になるところ。
It was
外は
already
薄
about
暗く
5.
なってきているけれど、階段の7時までにはまだまだ余裕があった。
It was getting dark out, but if Kana's story was to be believed, I had until 7 before anything bad might
だか
happen.
ら怖がる必要なんてない。と、そう自分に言い聞かせて廊下を進む。
As I continued wending my way down the corridor, I just kept telling myself there's nothing to be afraid of.
それでも下駄箱にたどり着くまでの時間がやけに長く感じられた。
Even so, it felt like it took an extra long time to reach the shoe lockers.
あー、ダメだ。やっぱり怖い。
Man, I'm such a scaredy cat.
よう、シシド。
Oh, hey Shishida.
司くん。
今帰りか？
Heading home? Yep.
なんだよ、その満面の笑みは。
What's with the big grin?
なんでもない。ねえ、途中まで一緒に帰ろうよ。
It's nothing. Hey, why don't we walk together at least part of the way?
ああ、いいけど。
Sure, I don't mind.
やった。
Great.
司くんの顔を見たら一瞬だけだけど怖かったのが吹き飛んだ。こうい
When I
う
looked
時
at Tsukasa's
男の子ってすごく頼りになるなって思う。
when I looked at Tsukasa's face, my fear vanished, but if only for a moment, these are the times when it's really nice to have boys around, I
そ
thought.
ばにいてくれたら心強いなって無条件に思わせてくれるから。
I felt that as long as he was by my side, nothing bad could
も
happen.
ちろんそれが気になってる人ならなおさら。
It didn't hurt that I had a crush on him, of course.
雨は朝よりも弱まっていた。その中を私たちは傘を差しながら歩く。
The rain had let up since that morning, though it was still coming down. The two of us walked side by side, umbrellas held high.
司くんとはたわいもない話でそこそこ笑ったりもしたけど、でも私はどこかぎこちなかったかもしれない。
Tsukasa was talking and laughing excitedly the whole
得
time,
体
whereas
の
I
知れない
probably...
恐怖みたいなものがちらついて、いつもみたいに振る舞えている自信はなかった。
I'm sorry, I don't know how long I was muted there. Tsukasa was talking and laughing excitedly the whole time, whereas I probably came off as preoccupied. I'm sure it was awkward. A vague sense of fear flickered inside me, and it was making me extraordinarily self-conscious. I'm certain it must have been reflected in my behavior.
シシド？なんかお前顔色悪いぞ。どうかした？
You look kind of pale. Did something happen?
おい。
Hey.
実は怖いことがあって。
Yeah, something scary happened.
怖いこと？
Something scary?
私の様子があまりにおかしかったのか、司くんは心なしか表情をこわばらせて私を見つめた。
I probably seemed really on edge. Tsukasa was staring at me with this look of abject concern on his
真
face.
剣に話を聞いてくれようとしているのが分かって、私はちょっと嬉しくなる。
I was a little relieved that he'd asked, though, and it felt good to tell him about what had happened.
今抱えている恐怖をできることなら司くんと共有したかった。だから私は今朝会ったこととカンナから聞いた怪談話を司くんに話した。
I filled him in on all the details and explained how they related to Kanna's ghost story. I did my absolute best to convey the dread I was
だ
feeling.
けど司くんは。
But Tsukasa was, well...
はあ。七不思議ね。
The Seven Wonders of Kisaragi High, huh? Yeah.
七不思議を信じるなんて夢があっていいな。
So you actually believe in that stuff? Sometimes I wish I could see the world through your eyes. What?
ん？
司くんは怖くないの？
You don't think it's scary?
怖いっていうか妙だとは思うけどな。でもその謎のばあちゃんと七不思議なんて単なる偶然だろ。気にしすぎだって。
It's weird, sure, but I wouldn't call it scary, and I wouldn't worry about what that old woman said to you. I'm sure it's just coincidence.
でも。
But
あんま深く考えない方がいいんじゃね？
wouldn't it be better to not dwell on it either way?
そのばあちゃんは確かに気味悪いけどさ、ちょっと変わった人だっただけだろ。
I mean, yeah, your encounter with her sounds like it was kind of unsettling, but she was probably just a little off, you know?
そういうんじゃなくて。
It's not the issue here.
え？
解決方法を教えてほしかったわけじゃないよ。
I wasn't asking you to solve my problems for me.
私は話を聞いてほしかっただけなの。
Look, I just wanted to vent, okay? I just wanted you to listen.
話なら聞いたじゃんか。
What do you mean? That's what I've been doing.
だから、そうじゃなくて。
No, not like that.
はあ？わかんねえよ。なんか怒ってんのか？
I don't get it. Are you angry about something?
男の子ってこういう考え方をする。
Guys always do this.
人によるのかもしれないけど、でも女子とは違ってすぐにこうすればいいじゃんって解決法を提示しちゃうのだ。
It varies from person to person, of course, but guys invariably jump right into looking for solutions to your problems or giving you advice on what to
結
do.
果、女子は言いたいことが言えなくて消化不良になってしまう。
As a result, girls often can't be totally honest with them, or don't want to be at any rate, and are forced to just bottle up their feelings. Okay.
私は司くんと恐怖を共有したかっただけ。
I
司
only
くん
wanted
が一緒に怖がってくれればそれでよかったのに。
I only wanted Tsukasa to share in some of my fears. If he were scared with me, that would have been enough.
この時の
That's
私は
selfish.
気にするなって言葉が司くんの気遣いだとわからなかった。めんどくさいのかなってむくれてしまったのだ。
I didn't realize then that Tsukasa was telling me not to worry was his way of showing concern. I just thought he was brushing me off, and frankly, that annoyed me.
朝に見たおばあさんの顔が、目が、しわがれた声が何度も頭の中でフラッシュバックする。
My mind flashed back over and over again to the face, the eyes, and the hoarse voice of that old woman.
それが怪談話で増幅されて、じわじわと私の気持ちを暗くした。
Amplified and distorted by the ghost story, these images gradually darkened my
あ
mood.
んなに怖い思いをしたんだからっていう甘えや 八つ当たりの気持ちもあったんだと思う。
Maybe I was traumatized by the events I'd experienced, or maybe I was just frustrated and needed to lash out. I don't know.
私と司くんはこの時初めて気まずい雰囲気になった。
But for the first time ever, things had become decidedly uncomfortable between the two of us.
それじゃ私こっちだから。
Okay, well, this is me.
おう
Right.
シシド。
He called out my name as I briskly walked away. I didn't really know why I was so angry or confused, but I did notice that his voice was tinged with
なん
concern.
かあったら連絡しろよ。
If anything should happen, feel free to contact me. I considered turning back for a second, but changed my mind and pushed forward in a huff, leaving him behind.
ただいま。
I'm home!
ゆい、おかえり。
Yui, welcome back.
うん。
Greeting me at the door, my mother wore a somber expression. I could tell right away that something had happened. I stared at her with scrunched eyebrows for an awkwardly long time before she eventually reluctantly opened her mouth to speak.
今朝のおばあさんね。
About that old woman from this morning?
うん。
Yeah?
さっき亡くなったって、病院から連絡があったわ。
The hospital contacted me. She passed away a short while ago.
嘘。
No,
残念なことだけど、
I'm so sorry.
あなたは明日の推薦入試のことだけ考えていなさい。
You need to stay focused on tomorrow's exam right now, though.
うん。
Yeah.
それじゃ、あのおばあさんの話はこれで終わり。さあ、ご飯にするから着替えておいで。
We should put this unpleasantness behind us. I'm getting dinner started now, so how about you go get
わ
changed?
かった。
Okay.
それじゃあ私部屋にいるから。
I'll be in my room.
ええ、
I'll call you.
お母さんがキッチンへと引っ込んでいくのを見届けて、私はもぞもぞと靴を脱いだ。気持ちは一層重くなっている。
I watched my mom work her way out of the kitchen and work her way back to the kitchen, then wriggled out of my shoes. My mood had darkened even more.
司くんにあんな態度をとってしまっただけでも嫌な気分だったのに、あのおばあちゃんが亡くなってしまっただなんて。
Tsukasa's attitude was bad enough, but for that old woman to have died? Returning to my room, I couldn't muster the energy to do anything but collapse into my chair and sprawl out on the desk.
行くな
The last thing the old woman had said to me echoed again and again in my mind. I began wishing I'd taken her more seriously. I should have accepted the paper doll and thanked her. I should have reassured her I wouldn't go to this Heavenly Host Elementary. I mean, the place didn't even exist anymore, for goodness sake. I was exhausted. It was a hell of a day, and I no longer even had the energy to move. I needed to change out of my school clothes, but still sprawled out over the desk, my eyelids drooped and closed. I was out. I woke with a start. The air in my room had gotten notably cooler, and I was shivering.
寝ちゃった。
I must have fallen asleep. Rubbing my eyes, I glanced at the clock. The needles indicated that it was 6:45.
もうこんな時間。
It's already this late? It was black outside my window, streaked with lines from the still pouring
明
rain.
日は晴れるといいんだけど。
Sure hope it's sunny tomorrow. Why did your mom not call you for dinner? Sunny, for my exam. The weight of what the next day held for me came rushing into my mind. I practiced the interview process with my teachers quite thoroughly, but I was still really
そう
nervous.
だ。明日の用意しておかなくっちゃ。
Okay, I need to make sure I'm ready for tomorrow. There was still a little time before dinner. Oh. My mind swimming, I decided I'd take this opportunity to clean out all of the notes and textbooks I wouldn't need tomorrow from my bag. Oh, notes and textbooks I wouldn't need tomorrow from my bag.
残しておくものは学生証でしょ。それから
Let's see.
ハンカチとティッシュ。
Student ID needs to stay, obviously. Handkerchief and
受験
tissues.
票も忘れずに入れて。それからペンケース。
Gotta make sure I don't forget my exam ticket. Oh, and my pencil case. Huh?
嘘。
Oh,
ケー
crap.
スがない。
Where's my pencil case?
学校に忘れてきちゃった。
Did I leave it at school?
さーっと血の気が引いた。
My face suddenly went pale.
別に筆記用具で困ったわけじゃない。家にはいくらでも代わりがある。
Really, I shouldn't have been too concerned over writing implements. We had tons at
だ
home.
けど、あの中には司くんから借りた受験必勝鉛筆が入っているのだ。
But that case held the pencil that Tsukasa had given me for guaranteed success on my exam.
取ってこなくちゃ。
I have to go get it.
お母さん、私ちょっと学校に忘れ物取りに行ってくる。
Hey Mom, I forgot something at school, so I'm going to run back for a sec.
もうすぐご飯できるわよ。
What? But dinner's almost ready.
すぐ戻るから。
That's okay, I'll come right home.
そう。
Alright.
雨も降っているし、気をつけていくのよ。
It's still raining though, so be careful. I will.
あの鉛筆は絶対に明日試験会場へ持っていかなければならないものの一つだった。だから私は迷うことなく学校に戻る道を選んだ。
The pencil was the one thing I absolutely needed to bring with me to the test, and so, without hesitation, I ran down the road to
降
school,
りし
back
きる
down the road
雨
to
の
school.
中、足元に気を配りながら全速力で走る。走っている間、ちらりと頭をよぎるのは起きた時の時間だった。
I was sprinting as close to full speed as I could get without slipping in the downpour. All the while, the numbers on my bedroom clock ran through my mind.
6時45分。七不思議で語られていた時間は夜の7時。
6:45, and if Kana's story was to be believed, Yoshi haunted the school building at 7.
校門前に着いて真っ先に時間を確認した。校舎についている大時計が指し示す時間は6時55分。
As soon as I arrived at the gate, I glanced up at the large clock adorning the schoolhouse. It was now 6:55.
放課後のヨシエさんの怪談話が再び頭をよぎる。
Yoshi after school. I went over the whole scenario in my head again as best as I could recall
10
it.
月。雨が降る放課後。夜7時。
After classes on a rainy day in October, 7 at night.
あのおばあちゃん、もしかしてこうなるのが分かっていて。
Did that old woman somehow know this would happen?
やだな、もう。怪談なんてあんなの作り話だって。
Get a hold of yourself, Yui. It's just an old campfire tale.
込み上げてくる恐怖を抑えつけるために声を出して自分を叱咤する。
I was talking to myself, reprimanding myself in an effort to quell the fear that was welling up in the pit of my
見上
stomach.
げた校舎に人影はない。こんな時間なら生徒はもう帰宅しているだろうし、先生だってどれくらい残っているのか。
There wasn't a soul to be seen on the grounds, but by this time... Oh, there wasn't a soul to be seen on the grounds. By this time, the students had all gone home. I wondered if any teachers were even still
け
around.
れど廊下の電気はまだ全てついていた。あれだけ明るければそこまで怖い思いをしなくても教室まで行けるだろう。
Fortunately, the lights were all still on, and it was bright enough that I felt confident I could make it to the classroom without freaking out.
よし、パッと行ってパッと済ましちゃおう。
Okay, I'll just run up, grab the case, and come right back down. Where'd the lights go? I folded up my soaked umbrella and left it on the rack by the entrance, and then changed into my indoor shoes. Then, entering the brightly lit hall, I took another look around.
やっぱり生徒は誰も残ってないみたい。
Guess I was right. Nobody's home. My deep sigh echoed through the deathly silent corridor. Ordainedly, the din of other students would drown out noises like this, but every little sound was coming through crystal clear at this late hour.
急がなくちゃ。もうすぐ7時だ。
I need to hurry. It's almost 7. I nervously sauntered towards the classroom 3-4, picking up speed as it occurred to me to do so.
今朝のおばあさんね。さっき亡くなったみたい。
About that old woman from this morning? She passed away a short while ago.
その天神小学校で放課後校舎の見回りをしていた女の先生が誤って階段から落ちて死んだんだって。
It said that one day after school, a female teacher who had been patrolling the grounds slipped and fell down the stairs and died.
その日は10月のちょうど今日みたいに雨が降る放課後で、時刻はそう夜の7時を過ぎたあたり。
The accident took place on a rainy October day, just like this one, and occurred just after 7 at night.
こういう日はヨシエさんが出るんだって。
And supposedly, Yoshi still appears on days like this.
天神小学校がなくなってしまったことに気づいていないヨシエさんは、如月学園の廊下を見回って歩いているんだよ。
Everyone aware that she died at Heavenly Host these many years ago, as she now walks the halls of Kisaragi Academy, believing them to be her own.
もう何考えてるのよ私。七不思議なんて司くんも言ってたじゃない。深く考えない方がいいって。
Geez, what the hell is wrong with me? Why am I letting this bother me so much? Tsukasa was right. I shouldn't dwell on this. Lightning flashed and thunder resounded with impeccable timing. I jumped in spite of myself.
とにかくパッと教室に行ってペンケース取ってこなくちゃ。
I just need to hurry up these stairs, grab the pen case, and get the hell out of this creepy building. No ghost should show up in a well-lit building like this, right? And even if they did, they wouldn't be very scary under these bright lights.
あのペンケースに入ってる鉛筆は明日の試験にどうしても必要なの。
I absolutely need that pencil for tomorrow's
だっ
test.
てあれは司くんがくれたお守りなんだもの。
It's my good luck charm after all, and it's from Tsukasa. I picked up the pace as I continued to head straight for room 3-4. Okay. Not a fan.
中等部の方はもう真っ暗だな。やっぱり誰もいないのね。
Middle school is already pitch black. I guess there really is no one else around right now.
それにしても今日はいつもよりこの廊下が長い感じがする。ただでさえこの廊下で遅刻しそうになるくらいなのに。
And this hallway feels longer today than it ever has before. Was it always like this? I can't imagine I'd ever be on time if it was. I continued my brisk walk down the impossibly long hallway towards my goal, jumping every now and again whenever another thunderclap sounded. Kisaragi Academy was comprised of both a middle school and a high school, and this evening it really felt like it was flaunting its massive size. It didn't help that my classroom was in the high school wing, which happened to be past the middle school, making it seem that much farther
い
away.
つもは賑やかな場所がこんなにも静まり返っていると余計に物寂しい気がするな。
When a building that's usually so full of life goes completely quiet, it becomes such a lonely place.
雨の音がやけに大きく聞こえるよ。
I swear I can hear every drop of rain. I was focusing on the scant few sounds around me as I paced down that long, lonely corridor. Then, all of a sudden, I heard a faint noise, as if someone playing an organ.
今の空耳だよね。そうに決まってるよ。
That was just my imagination, right? I mean, it had to
こん
be.
な時間に音楽室で楽器を鳴らす人なんているわけないし。
There's no way anyone would still be here practicing, right? I took a deep breath, trying to calm my nerves. It was probably the sounds of the rain, wind, and thunder mixing together. It just sounded like an organ, that's all. I was convinced. I kept walking. But then... I heard the same noise again, this time much more clearly. It was unmistakable.
嘘。やだ。
Oh, no way. I was paralyzed with fear. My heart was pounding as if it were struggling to break free of someone's sinister grip.
きっとまだ吹奏楽部の子とか先生が残って弾いてるんだよね。そうだ。そうに決まってるよ。
It's probably just some devoted member of band, or a teacher who's working late. I'm just being stupid. Thinking about it, I vaguely recalled someone mentioning an upcoming performance by the Wind Instrument Club. I guess an organ would qualify. Somebody must have stayed late to practice, that's all.
何でもかんでも怖い話に直結させちゃいけないな。
I can't get that damn ghost story out of my head. I took another deep breath and tried again to calm my overly jittery
怖い
nerves.
と思ったら何でも怖く思えるものだよね。
Anything can be scary if you think it is. I'd heard that if you let your imagination run too wild, fear can even make you see things that aren't there. And my imagination was most definitely running
あ
wild.
とちょっとで教室だから走っていこう。
I'm almost there. I might as well sprint the rest of the way. I decided to dash forward toward my classroom so I could get out of this hall as quickly as possible. Finally reaching that familiar door, I swiftly opened it and flicked on the lights.
やっとたどり着いた。あとはペンケースを忘れないようにしなくちゃ。
Alright, I made it. Now I just have to be absolutely certain I don't leave here without that pen case again. Thanks to all my unexpected pauses to freak out over thunder and lightning, it took me far over Far longer than it should have to get here. It was already well past 7.
7時か。
7 o'clock, huh? It was the appointed time when the ghost of the teacher was supposed to appear, at least according to the school legend.
何もないじゃない。
No undead educators here. I let out a sigh of relief and relaxed my shoulders a bit. The lights were on both inside the classroom and out in the hallway. Sure, it was still dead silent, but the fear I'd been feeling had completely melted away.
全然怖くないよ。やっぱり七不思議だなんて嘘だったんだな。
Yeah, there's nothing to be afraid of. The 7 wonders aren't real. I grabbed the pen case I'd come back for and shoved it into my
よ
pockets.
し、これで任務完了だね。
Okay, mission accomplished. With my long ordeal behind me, more or less, I looked around the classroom and let out another sigh. I'd only ever known this classroom when it was bustling with activity, and thus found it eerie, at least its eerie silence and utter stillness, to be oddly fascinating.
教室に私一人ってなんだか不思議な感じがするな。
Such a strange feeling being alone in a classroom like this. I got the idea in my head to try doing something I normally wouldn't be able to, like standing at the teacher's podium or writing on the
こんな
blackboard.
シチュエーションめったにないし。
Chances like this don't come too often, after all. To me, the area behind that podium, from which the teachers conduct their lessons, was like a sacred space. I dreamed of standing there myself one day and could hardly resist its pull when presented with a rare opportunity like
今
this.
なら誰も見てないし。
Well, no one's looking. To my classmates, this would seem like such a silly, stupid dilemma, but that didn't change the way I felt at the moment.
どうしようかな。
Should I or shouldn't I? Oh. Okay, a choice. I'm gonna save, just to be safe. Okay, I'm going to leave the room.
ダメダメ。ここは遊んでないでとっとと学校出るべきだよね。
Okay, I really don't have time to play around right now. I should get out of here. I decided it would be best to put my yearnings aside and leave the classroom behind.
七不思議だなんてやっぱり迷信じゃない。
Well, that particular wonder turned out to be nothing at all, it seems. Guess it's all just superstition. I couldn't believe I'd gotten all indignant with Tsukasa over something so trivial. Thinking about it now, it seemed kind of
さ
ridiculous.
てと家に帰ろうかな。
Alright, time to head home.
今日は明日に備えて早く寝なくちゃ。
I have to get to bed early, so I'll be ready for tomorrow. With this in mind, I walked towards the classroom door and took one step out into the hall. When suddenly... Huh? The door slid shut on its own with incredible force, and my neck was trapped in the narrow opening that remained. I dug my nails into the door, frantically trying to open it back up. But the more I pushed it on it, the more it pushed back, further constricting my neck. I was flailing my limbs, twisting and contorting my body, trying everything I could to escape. Why? Why? My neck was clamped tightly. I could feel the blood rushing to my head. I couldn't breathe. Opening my mouth in terror, I stuck my tongue out as if trying to swallow the air. Forcefully shaking my head left and right, I swiveled my body to face the ceiling. That's when I saw the tall, pitch-black silhouette of a person. A silent scream squirmed its way out of my throat. But the door was still pressing onto my neck.
ダメ。
I can't. Tsukasa! And my vision whirled and I felt a sensation of falling. At the same time, a lukewarm liquid began pouring over my face. What? As I was struggling to make sense of what was happening to me, the door that had been violently crushing my neck quietly slid open. The floor of the schoolhouse came down hard on my head. My vision had gone white and began blurring, but I could still see.
私の体が見える。
I can see my body. I was rolling across the hallway, and there in the doorframe I caught sight of my own headless torso collapsing in a heap on the floor.
何が起こったの？
What just happened? The last thing I saw out of the corner of bloodshot, unfocusing eye was the familiar figure of the old woman from this morning. Wrong end. Wah wah. Wrong end 1 for chapter 3. Okay, This time, we're going to stand at the teacher's podium.
よし、少しだけ先生の気分を味わっちゃえ。
How can I pass this up? It's a chance to feel like a real teacher. I decided I had to try it. During daily cleanup and such, I'd come and gone from this spot countless times. But this was the first time I'd ever had an opportunity to just stand there and preside over the classroom.
そうか。先生からはこんな風に見えるんだ。教室って。
So, this is how it looks to a teacher, huh?
なんかちょっとドキドキする。
It's kind of awe-inspiring. Gaining a teacher's point of view, in the most literal sense, was starting to get me really fired up. It may seem silly now, but this was my stage. It was where all my dreams would play out.
私もいつか。
Someday. I began to imagine the future that awaited me, painstakingly detailing some new piece of knowledge for students sitting attentively at their desks, gliding chalk across the board, filling it with information to aid them in their
い
studies.
つか先生になれるといいな。
I sure hope I can make the cut one of these days. I was getting so excited that even I began to think my behavior was a little strange. Maybe it was the juxtaposition of these joyous, freeing visions and the prickling dread I'd been feeling up until just a minute or two before. But then, in the blink of an eye, one of those two conflicting emotions completely overpowered the other.
停電。
Crap! Is this a blackout? Suddenly, my surroundings were bathed in darkness. Going stiff with shock, I stumbled back a step. My back struck the blackboard with a dull thud.
いきなり何？
What awful timing! I instinctively grabbed hold of the rail where the eraser sat. I felt chalk dust against my fingertips. My panicked heartbeat was making it difficult to breathe. Was this caused by the thunderstorm? If so, it sure picked a fine time to turn the lights out on me.
しかもオルガンの音まだ響いてる。
And what's more?
嘘なんで？停電になってるならオルガンだって鳴らないはずなのに。
What's more, I can still hear the sound of the organ, but no, it's an electric organ. How is that even possible with no power? You must not go! Was this what that old woman was trying to warn me about? That's impossible. She was no fortune teller or psychic, as far as I was aware. How could she possibly have known this would happen? Hell, even if she were a fortune teller or a psychic, predicting the future is the stuff of science fiction. I shook my head.
落ち着くのよ、私。音楽室の方はまだ停電になってないとか、きっとそんな理由だよ。
I need to calm down. Maybe it's just the swing that lost power and the music room is still okay. That seems plausible, right? I curled my chalk-dusted fingers into a fist and silently tried to talk some sense into
とも
myself.
かく早く校舎を出よう。
I've got to get out of here. I shouldn't have been playing teacher. I should have been in and out by now. Cursing myself a little, I fumbled my way through the darkened classroom. I'd spent so much time in here, you'd think I'd be able to find my way out of it with my eyes closed, as it were. But sadly, that wasn't the case. Smashing loudly into a desk, I knocked it on its side and began tumbling after it, instinctively grabbing that other desk around me for support.
いけない。机の中身まき散らしちゃったよ。
Damn it, that sounds like I knocked out a lot of stuff out of that desk.
元に戻さなくちゃ。
Guess I'll need to put everything back. Still fumbling around blindly, I gathered up all the scattered notes, textbooks, and writing
でも
utensils.
暗くて何がなんだか。もう何やってるのよ、急いでるのに。本当にドジなんだから。
Ugh, I can't tell what's what. This is so embarrassing. What the heck am I doing anyway? Wasn't I supposed to be hurrying home? I'm such a klutz. I let out a sigh. I seem to be doing that a lot lately.
これは教科書とノートでしょ。
Okay, this is a textbook and this is a notebook, right? I was trying to take inventory of all the things I'd knocked out of the desk and then realized why. I might as well just stand up and stuff it all back
さ
in.
すがに全部を間違いなく元に戻すのは無理だな。
I couldn't
明
possibly
日
organize
ここの席の子に謝らなくちゃ。
it properly in absolute darkness. Better just apologize tomorrow to whoever sits here. Not that it was a particularly pleasant prospect. Explaining what I'd done wouldn't be easy, and no matter how I sugarcoated it, it would serve as a clear indication of my clumsiness. If I didn't say anything, it's not like I'd be found out, but that would be the same as lying as far as I'm concerned, and I couldn't do that.
これで最後かな。
Okay, I think I got everything. I placed my hand against the floor and swept it around, feeling for anything I might have missed. And I found something, all right.
やだ。何これ。
Gross.
なんだかぬるぬるして。
What is this? It's all slimy. Ugh! I clearly brushed my fingers across something, but I had no idea what. It was no notebook or writing implement, though, that was for sure.
机の中からなんでブニュブニュしたものが。
Why would anyone have something like this in their desk? Maybe it had been on the floor all along.
なんだろう。
What
これ。
is this stuff? I rubbed my sticky fingertips a bit deeper into this wet spot and then brought my hand close to my face so I could get a better look at what was there. What on earth did I just touch? There was a flash of lightning almost immediately joined by a roaring thunderclap, and with it, for a split second, the pitch-black classroom was lit up as bright as day. Oh. God, is that blood? I shot to my feet, utterly mortified. In that split second, I'd gotten a very good look at my fingers, and it really did seem as if they were covered in blood. But it wasn't just my hands. No, if my peripheral vision was to be trusted, it looked as if the entire classroom was stained in deep, dark crimson.
そういえば、なんとなく生臭い気がする。
Crap, it kind of smells like blood in here, too. Without thinking, I backed away from where I'd been crouching. I tried rationalizing what I saw. How did the whole classroom become a bloodbath like this? Did something spill? Did someone stumble in here injured?
ありえない。そんな、何よこれ。
This isn't possible. It can't be. I mean, how? My whole body was quaking. I fled from the classroom. Or rather, I tried to flee.
開かない。やだ。
Why won't it open? No, please, no.
鍵なんてかかってなかったのに。今だって鍵はかかってないよ。それなのに、どうして？
I don't remember locking it, and it isn't locked, so why can't I get it open? I pulled on the door handle again and again in a frenzy. I was pulling so hard it felt like my fingernails might tear loose. But it just wouldn't budge.
なんでよ。なんでよ。
Why? Please! I was absent-mindedly grabbing at my hair with one hand. I slammed my fist on the nearby desk with the other. This was a nightmare.
何これ。
Please, no. What is going on? Silence saturated the inky blackness of the room. I took several deep breaths in an effort to restrain my pounding heart.
とにかく一度落ち着かないと。そもそもドアが開かないのだって私がこんなにパニックになってるせいかもしれないし。
Calm down. I have to calm down. I'm probably just panicking because the door won't open.
さっきの変な塊だってきっと何かの勘違いだよ。だってありえないじゃない。教室にあんなわけのわからないものが落ちてるだなんて。
I'm sure I just misidentified whatever that is on the floor. I mean, it's preposterous, right? There's no way something like that could be. I was certain that when I saw what it actually was come morning, it ended up being something totally random, like someone's old soda-stained gym clothes.
きっとそうだよ。そうだ。指についたのだって美術に使う絵の具かもしれないじゃない。
Yeah, that has to be it. I probably just brushed against somebody's paint for art class or something. My imagination was just running wild because I was
もし
panicking.
かしたらドアに何かが挟まってて開かないだけかもしれない。
And the door just probably has something caught in it, that's all. I decided to check out that hypothesis by feeling my way across the door and determining if anything was jutting out from any of the
ダ
cracks.
メだ。真っ暗で何にも見えない。
Damn it, not sure I can do this without being able to see. I fumbled around the gaps in the door, but I just couldn't make anything out that would seem to be doing this, and the classroom's rear exit seemed whirled away.
他の出口は。
Maybe there's another way out of here. No, this was the third floor. I couldn't get out of this classroom without exiting into the
今
hallway.
すぐ外に出たいのに。
Let me out. I want out. Still at a loss, I noticed a sudden flash of light through the hallway window. But the glass was only translucent, so I couldn't be sure of its source.
誰か歩いてくる。
Is somebody out there? Then there came the distinctive clomp, clomp, clomp of footsteps.
そうだ。きっと用務員さんだ。
Oh, of course, it must be the custodian. I recalled the existence of a custodian who always patrolled the school grounds. I was sure he must have been taking a look around after a sudden power outage.
助かった
Great, I'm saved. All at once, my fear-addled legs regained their strength. This nightmare would soon be over.
すみません
Excuse me! I shouted to the custodian through the window as loudly as I could muster.
すみません閉じ込められてるんです
Excuse me, I'm trapped in here. I had to be sure he heard me. I shouted again. Finally, I could see the light out in the hallway again. It seemed to be getting closer. However,
なんかこの光おかしい気がする
something's not right about this. Perturbed, I took a step away from the window.
懐中電灯だったらもっと明るいよねこの光はなんだか
If that's a flashlight, shouldn't it be brighter? It kinda looks like the faint, unearthly glow classically attributed to spirits, was what I was thinking. I tried to stop myself from finishing that thought, however. Dullness aside, it also looked like it was wriggling around in a very unnatural, very unflashlight way.
それにこの足音
And these footsteps. Clomp, clomp, clomp. 4 stomps and then a 3 or so second interval, then another 4 clomps. They were sounding in fixed rhythm.
明らかに変な歩き方
That's no custodian. Nobody walks like that. The fear was back in a full force. I had to find somewhere to hide. What if I'd accidentally summoned something inhuman? I mean, whatever that was, I begged it for help. It literally invited it in.
どこか隠れるところそうだ
I need to hide, but where? Oh, okay, I'm gonna save again. Let's hide in the supply locker. I hurriedly squeezed myself into the metal locker where the classroom's cleaning supplies were kept. It was still pitch black in the room, so I really couldn't spare the time it would take to remove its contents. Instead, I just contorted myself to fit. The locker was thick with the smells of mold and varnish.
ここで息を潜めていればきっと見つからないよね
If I can hold my breath for just a little while, I think I'll be safe in here. So I waited. I waited for the footsteps to pass by and faded into the distance, signaling that it was safe to
ずっ
emerge.
とこんなところにいたらむせちゃいそうだよ
Whoever it is, better hurry. I feel like I'm going to suffocate if I'm in here much longer. Still, it felt a lot safer in the locker than it did out in the room. But the footsteps weren't receding. They were just getting louder, closer, faster. Oh god, that would terrify me. And then they came to a sudden halt.
Eh?
They were close, just outside the locker. I peered through the ventilation holes amidst the utter darkness of the classroom where there wasn't a soul to be
大丈
seen.
夫ここにいれば大丈夫
I'm okay. As long as I stand here, I'll be fine. I'm not sure why I believed that. Maybe because I needed to. Maybe because it was so dark, or because I felt so much calmer in such a tight space where nothing could possibly sneak up behind me. I didn't know why, and I didn't care. I just knew that as far as I was concerned, I was safe in here, so I stood, motionless and cramped, and I waited. I didn't have to wait long.
今なんか音がした鍵がかかったような
What's that? It sounded like a door locking. Suddenly apprehensive, I gently nudged the supply closet door just to make sure it would still open for me when I wanted it to.
開かない
No, it's locked.
見つけた
Found you. I let out a sudden yelp at this unknown voice and tried out with all my might to push open the door blocking my escape.
開かない開けて開けてってば
No, no, please, let me out! Let me out!
まだ残ってるの
Is somebody still
居
here?
残りしてた罰よ
You'll need to be punished for that. There was a brief moment of silence following the eerie voice's unsettling proclamation. And then... Crash! Crunch! The metal walls around me and all 4 sides began warping inward as if the supply locker had somehow been fed into a trash compactor. Ow! What's going on? There was no force I could imagine that should have been able to do this, but it was happening. This already confined space was steadily closing in on me.
やだ苦しい
No! It hurts! Open the door! Let me out! Crash, crunch, the collapse of the locker all around me continued, slowly and steadily. I could feel all manner of things pushing and cutting into my body. My vision went bright red. One of the blood vessels in my eyes would probably burst from the pressure. I wasn't going to last much longer. The ventilation holes in the locker that were now pressed tightly against my face and through. The ventilation holes in the locker were now pressed right up against my face, and through them, I could just barely make out the figure of a person. It was the same. It was the old woman from this morning. She was standing just outside the slats, staring right into my eyes. It was this last sight I would ever see as the locker finally, inevitably smashed in my skull. Crash, crunch, crack, splat. Well, darn, another wrong end. Chapter 3, wrong end 2. Okay, so that didn't work out, so let's hide at the teacher's podium. I hurriedly hid myself beneath the teacher's podium. I grabbed my knees, curled up, and made myself as small as I could. What is this? What's happening? The footsteps continued to draw nearer and nearer. Clomp, 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 clomp. Little by little, the sound grew louder. Every hair on my body was standing on end. Please, just pass by, please. I held my breath, clasped my hands together, and silently prayed. They were close now. Very, very close. Please, God. Why was this happening? I couldn't make any sense of it. I just wanted it to be over. I prayed to God that it would end. Was this what the old woman was trying to warn me about? Was this all happening because I ignored her? Because I didn't take the paper doll from her? Was it because I'd heard the ghost story of Yoshi and allowed it to get to me? Or did the strange events of the day have nothing to do with what was happening to me now? It feels like my heart is going to burst out of my chest. I was still holding my breath. I didn't dare let even the tiniest of sounds escape and give away my position. The consistent rhythm of footsteps suddenly ended halfway into one of its cycles. And it had ended right in front of this very classroom. Yep, that'd be a ghosty goo. I had goosebumps up and down my arms and legs. I stopped praying and clasped my hands over my mouth. I knew I'd scream if I didn't. Could this be Yoshi? Was the school legend real? All I could do was close my eyes, keep my mouth shut, and hope that whoever or whatever this was would just go away. But the footsteps didn't start again. If this was indeed Yoshi, then she'd stopped right in front of the classroom and was just standing there. I had no concept of time anymore. I stayed in my hiding spot for what was probably only a few minutes, but it felt like at least an hour. Maybe whoever it was is gone. I decided to carefully peek out from under the podium. I gingerly edged my head out from just far enough to get a glimpse of the room, when suddenly the footsteps rang out once more. It sounded like they were headed right for me, and they might have been inside the room. I honestly couldn't tell. I scrambled back into my hiding spot and covered my mouth with both hands. This was too much for me. My breathing was coarse and erratic, and my face was a mess of tears and snot. God, please, save me. I was inconsolable. The footsteps just wouldn't stop. What on earth were they doing? It almost seemed like they were running around in circles just to scare me. Stop it, please stop it. I mouthed these words over and over again and moved my hands to my ears in a vain attempt to block out this torturous sound. And as if in response, the sound changed. It was a loud, dull thud, followed by silence. No more footsteps. I'd heard that sound 100 of times before. It was the classroom door sliding open. I peeked out, but the door was still tightly shut. How could that be? If the sound I heard wasn't the door, then what was it? What little safety I'd felt here was pretty much gone, but to be fair, I wasn't absolutely certain the spirit had seen or heard me either. The prospect of stepping out into the open wasn't a desirable one, but I had to decide if it was better to stay where I was or make a break for it. 1 second, gonna say. Okay, we're gonna stay hidden. That seems like the wrong idea, so
きっとやり過ごせるよ。大丈夫。
I'll keep hiding. It'll pass by for sure. I'll be okay. It'll be okay. But it only took a moment for that decision to come back and bite me. My body was suddenly weighed down. In an instant, without knowing what was happening, my fetally positioned form was essentially not locked in place. It was like a boulder had fallen on top of me and was resting on my arched back. I twisted and shuffled myself around, trying to shake it off, but the more I struggled, the heavier it became. And what's more, it felt like it was slowly inching its way up towards my head, as if it were planning on dropping down in front of my face. Was this a person? Guess who? It was a female voice, reverberating ominously as if bubbling up from the depths of hell. I squirmed violently, desperate to throw her off of me. Shall we play tag together? My vision went red, or at least it felt that way. Whoever was on my back had dug their razor-sharp fingernails right into my eyes. I collapsed on the spot. The pain was instantaneous and unbearable. I could no longer hold my position. I could no longer focus on anything but this agony. My eyes! My eyes! Bad children must be punished. The pain shot through my head in waves. It was indescribable, unthinkable. I couldn't take it any longer. My consciousness faded, and I was gone. I would never know exactly what had happened to me, but maybe I was better off that way. Alright, another wrong end. Chapter 3, Wrong End 3. Alright, we're gonna make a break for it. Staying in one place for too long seemed like it would be inviting trouble, so I took a deep breath and reluctantly crawled out as quietly as I could. But almost immediately I felt something. Something long and thin had struck me in the back of the head. Or perhaps struck isn't the right word. There was a little force behind it, but it wasn't a hard slam, more like someone trying to get my attention.
木の棒？うん、これは。
Is that...
これは指？
Is that a wooden rod or... No, it's a finger! I knew I wouldn't like what I was going to see, but I had to face whatever this was, so I turned around. And there, looming over me was... Is somebody still here? You're not gonna give us a CG? Go home, child. A figure was peering down at me from above the podium, with one emaciated wishbone-like finger extended toward my face. I recognized this person instantly, no doubt about it. It was the strange old woman who'd supposedly passed away earlier. I was scared out of my mind. I tumbled the rest of the way out from under the podium and shot to my feet. A ghost. There really was a ghost in this school. My breathing was ragged and my heart was pounding so hard I thought it might explode. Plowing through all the desks in my way, I ran as fast as I could towards the classroom door. But that was as far as I could go. What's wrong? There, on the other side of the door, tied up against the glass, was the old woman. She was glowing bluish-white, the source of the light from earlier. But how in the world did she get to the door before I did? How did she get out of the room so quickly and position herself so perfectly to block my exit? I felt like I was starting to hyperventilate, and tried as best as I could to calm my breathing as my eyes darted out about the room. I needed to get out of here now, to get as far away from this place as I possibly could.
前のドアから出られないとなると、外に出るには後ろのドアから出るしか。
If the front door is blocked, maybe I can get through the back.
でもそうすると、廊下は前のドアにいるあの幽霊の後ろを通らないと出口にはつかない。
But if I do that, I can't leave the school without running right past her.
そんなの無理。でも
There's no way she'd let me by. But I have to do something. I bit my lip and continued scanning the
何か
room.
あれに対抗できるようなものがあればいいんだけど。
Something, if I just had something I could use to fight back. I didn't have time to think carefully about it. I just had to grab something and hope for the best. There were two choices, and I had to pick one on the impulse before it was too late. Oh shoot, oh shoot, oh shoot. What do I do? What do I do? Huh? When I looked over, the spirit of the old woman was holding out her hand from the other side of the doorframe. She really was trying to catch me. I wasn't just being paranoid. She was going to kill me and turn me into a ghost like her. I was convinced this had to be Yoshi, the teacher from the urban legend. I had the sudden sensation of someone seizing me by the throat, accompanied by an unpleasant crunching sound. God, she really did have me by the throat. I couldn't breathe, for as only old and frail as she looked, she was uncommonly strong.
捕まえた。
Gotcha. That's Yoshi. No! She was actually gripping me so tightly that she managed to raise me off the ground by my neck. I could see her slender bony hand in the periphery of my vision and could feel it cutting into my trachea. Was that hand really holding me in the air against my will, kicking and flailing just by the tissue and bones of my neck? I couldn't struggle anymore. I was like a puppet on a string.
あなたが鬼よ。
Tag, you're it. With a sudden crack, my field of vision shifted 90 degrees and everything turned blood red.
あら、私と同じね。
Oh my. Just like me. Okay. The timer ran out there. My bad. But, I mean, I was trying to get a bad end anyway. I just don't know which one that was now. Alright, wrong end 4. Cool. Bag of salt.
これって科学の実験の時に
This
使
looks
っ
like
た
leftover
塩の残りだよね。
This looks like leftover salt from an old chemistry experiment? I'd heard that the salt was used in purification rituals, so it seemed like a natural choice.
よし、これを持ってい
I've
こう。
watched Supernatural, I know what's up. Okay, this is coming with me. I placed the salt in my pocket as a sort of protective charm.
怖いけど、行くしかない。
I'm scared, but, well, here goes nothing. When I looked over, the spirit of the old woman was holding out her hand from the other side of the doorframe. She really was trying to catch me. I wasn't just being paranoid. She was going to kill me and turn me into a ghost like her. I was convinced this had to be Yoshi, the teacher from that urban legend.
やだ、そんなの。
No, I won't let her get me. Bracing myself, I darted towards the door at the back end of the classroom. There wasn't a moment to lose. If I didn't act fast, I probably wouldn't be able to act at all. I threw the door open and just began running at top speed, hoping to escape behind the spirit's back. Unsurprisingly, trying to outrun a ghost proved to be a fruitless endeavor. The spirit saw me and moved at a breakneck speed to intercept. Stop! Don't come any closer! I thrust my hand in my pocket and withdrew the bag of salt, then threw the entire thing directly at the old woman's face. She recoiled. Now's my chance. I ran down the hall as fast as my legs would carry me, briefly glancing over my shoulder after a moment to confirm that the spirit was still writhing. I just kept on running down that dark hallway with nothing but adrenaline and mortal fear to keep me going. I reached the stairwell at the end of the hall and made a mad dash towards the ground level. I was determined to get out of this building alive. Stop! Finally, still moving at top speed, I reached the windowed door leading outside. Almost there. I'm almost out. Luckily, the malevolent spirit hadn't caught up to me yet. It actually seemed like I might be able to escape. I might actually survive this. I made it. I grabbed the handle and tried pulling it. Huh? No. No, it's not opening. Why? Why? I'm so close. Please, please open. I'm begging you.
どうしよう。このままじゃまたあの化け物に。なんとかしなくちゃ。なんとか。
I have to think of something. At this rate, that horrible woman's going to... No, I can't let that happen. But what do I do? What can I do? Oh god, another timer. Okay, we're gonna run somewhere else.
仕方がない。
I have no choice. I have to keep running. I have to find someplace else. Or maybe I could hide somewhere and throw Yoshi off my trail. I had no particular destination in mind. My only thought was anywhere but here. After maybe 30 seconds, I found myself in the second floor hallway. There was an outside corridor connecting the two buildings of the school there, and it was the first alternate escape route that came to mind. Naturally, it was walled off from the outside for safety purposes, but the wall wasn't so big that I couldn't scale it in a pinch. I didn't really want to jump from the second floor of the school, but if I had to, I was confident that I'd at least survive the fall with minimal injury.
隠れよう。
I should consider that a last resort. For now, let's just get out of sight. I climbed the wall faster than I thought possible and dropped down to the narrow ledge of the other side. It was just wide enough to sit down. My back was to the hallway, but my location should have been completely hidden from anyone inside the school. I looked down at the muddy ground below me. I really couldn't see much, though. The outside was completely dark. It was so dark it felt almost like the whole world had been draped in a black veil. Maybe I should just stay up.
朝を待とうか。逃げててもきっといつか捕まるよ。
Maybe I should just stay up here until morning. I mean, even if I ran, I'm pretty sure I'd get caught. I opened the pen case in my pocket and pulled out the pencil I received from Tsukasa.
お願い。
Tsukasa, please protect me. Was I really treating this stubby little pencil as a protective charm? Tsukasa said it would guarantee success on my test, not ward off evil spirits. Still, it was better than nothing. I clutched it tightly in my hands and prayed.
私を守って。
Please protect me. I whispered the words so quietly that I might as well have been mouthing them, but it seemed to be all the opening that damn spirit needed. I sensed a presence on the ledge with me. I was so startled that I almost fell from my perch.
やめてよ、おばあちゃん。どうして？
No, why are you... No, please, why are you doing this? However, I could only sense her there. I didn't actually see her. I thought for a brief moment that maybe I was letting my imagination run wild. But then I felt a horrible sensation of something coiling itself around my arm.
外は行けません。
You mustn't go outside. Before I knew it, a tall, shadowy figure had half emerged the wall behind me. She had me in her grasp. There wasn't much more to her than an indistinct, flickering silhouette, but I could clearly see that she had a broken neck. Was this a different apparition? Her scraggly, root-like fingers were squeezing my arm with tremendous force, pushing aside muscle and tissue and pressing right into the bone. No! Who? What are you? Where are you going, my dear? Will it just be a little longer so that you please wait for me? That hurts! That really hurts! I was shaking hysterically and tears were streaming down my face. I was absolutely convinced that I was going to die here. Let go of me! Sachi. I could offer no resistance. She was too strong. All I could do was plead with her. Stop! Please, you're really hurting me. I felt like my arm would snap in two at any moment.
ずーっと一緒にいましょうね。
Let's be together. Forever. She wasn't just grabbing, but twisting as well. The pain was unlike anything I'd ever experienced before. I couldn't think about anything else. Stopping it had become my first and only priority. I struggled violently against the spirit's grip, ultimately breaking free by throwing my body off the wall towards the unseen earth below. In the face of death, everything really does seem to slow down. I'd read somewhere that this is because the brain is sending out all kinds of distress signals or something. Slow motion or not, though, I was fully aware of my surroundings. I was cascading through the air just outside my school building. I don't know. Prey upon the pencil? If this is a dream, please let me wake up from it right now. Those were the words echoing through my head as I clutched Tsukasa's pencil tight against my bosom like a... Oh god, it's gonna stab her. Like a prayer or talisman. Moments later, I crashed into the ground, and a horrible squelching sound echoed in my ears. My neck was... Tsukasa's pencil had pierced deep into my throat. Yeah, I saw that coming. Blood was spurting everywhere. I was practically drowning in it. I'd landed right on it, and it wasn't long before I gasped my final breath. Okay. Number 3, wrong end 5. Alright, let's try reaching out our hands. I was pretty sure this fall would kill me. With a controlled jump, I might have been able to survive, but I was tumbling like a rag doll. I was a goner. I couldn't even remember what you were supposed to do in a situation like this. Try to flip over? Brace for impact? In one last-ditch attempt for survival, I stretched out both my arms. Maybe somebody would be waiting there to grab them. Maybe somebody would save me. And somebody actually did. I honestly wasn't expecting that. I really thought there was no hope, but then, at the last second, I was yanked to safety. Shishido!
Tsukasa-kun! 大丈夫か? 掴め!
You okay?
俺の腕!
Hang on, don't let go! Right! I held onto his arms with all my might, and against seemingly impossible odds, I was pulled in. My life was saved. This was like a scene out of some anime. It shouldn't have happened. It was too convenient, but I wasn't about to complain.
よく頑張ったな。
That was close.
どうして司くん
Why, Tsukasa?
今はシノゴの言ってる場合じゃない。逃げるぞ。
No time to explain. We have to run. What? Tsukasa was still holding on to me tightly after coming to my rescue. He took off down the hall, back into the heart of the school, with me in tow.
そう。なんだよさっきのは。俺は夢でも見てるのか。
Damn it, what the hell was that thing? Please tell me I'm just dreaming. He practically spit these words as he continued running.
どうしてここに司くんが
Why is Tsukasa here? I tried to match his gait, and once we were a bit more in sync, I looked up at his face. He was fast. After we'd reached the end of the hall, he suddenly veered into the last classroom before the stairwell, pulling me in with him.
シシド、お前怪我はないか?
Shishido, you okay?
大丈夫私はもう一人で歩けるから
I'm fine. I can walk by myself, really.
悪い。
Oh, sorry. My bad. I moved away from Tsukasa and almost immediately spilled onto the ground like a house of cards.
おい、大丈夫じゃないじゃん。
Oh, you sure don't seem okay to me.
そうだけどでもすぐに
Maybe not, but I just need a few...
無理すんなよ。
Hey, don't push yourself. Tsukasa grabbed my arm to help me up. Unfortunately, it was the arm Yoshi had been twisting.
悪い。やっぱり腕怪我してるのか?
Oh, sorry. Is it your arm that's hurting you then?
よくわかんないでもすっごく痛いよ焼けるみたい
I don't know how bad it is, but it really stings, like it's on fire. I draped my other hand over the sore spot where I assumed there was probably one hell of a bruise. I started rubbing gently, but it didn't help at all.
そうか。じゃあ保健室ですぐに手当てした方がいいな。
That's not good. We should get you to the nurse's office right away, and then take care of it.
でもそしたらまた
But then we'd
あい
be
つが来るって。
exposing ourselves to that ghost again, right? Yeah. Just thinking about going back out there and facing Yoshi made me shudder. I couldn't believe he was even entertaining the idea.
心配すんな。もし仮にあいつが来ても、俺が絶対お前を守ってやるから。
Don't worry.
な。
Even if she does come to get us, I'll keep you safe, no matter what, okay?
司くん
Tsukasa's gentle reassurance actually made me forget the pain in my arm for a moment. I had to stop myself from blushing, or try to at any rate.
怪我は一刻も早く手当てした方がいいって。 まあどうせ先生なんかいないだろうけど、応急手当てくらいなら俺にだってできる。
We need to treat your injuries as quickly as possible, or they could get worse. The nurse may not be in, but I can at least apply first aid. Okay.
よし、行くぞ。
Alright then, let's go. Tsukasa offered me his hand, and I graciously took it, squeezing it tightly as he led me back out into the hallway.
司くんの手あったかい。
Tsukasa's hand. It's so warm. Despite the fact that nothing had really changed, I was still in just as much danger as I had been. The paralyzing fear I'd been feeling was gone. If it were just me, I would have never been able to do this. I would have frozen up, but with Tsukasa leading the way, I felt like I could do anything.
シシド、少し走るけど大丈夫か？
Shido, are you okay to run? Sure. With my blessing, Tsukasa upped his pace significantly.
あいつが出てきませんように。
Please don't let her show up. I prayed silently for smooth sailing as I followed
こ
Tsukasa's
のま
lead.
ま司くんと一緒にいられれば安心。
As long as he's with me, I think I'll be okay. I gently squeezed his hand again as if to reassure myself that he was still with me. I was starting to think maybe Yoshi was gone. Maybe we thwarted her, but of course, just as I was thinking that, she made her presence known again. What the hell was that? Show yourself! An unearthly voice reverberated through the dark corridor. I immediately drew myself into Tsukasa's back.
もっと連れてこい。
Bring me more. Over Tsukasa's shoulder, I saw the same shadowy-like spirit from before. It must have been waiting here to ambush us.
大丈夫、落ち着け。
It's alright, stay calm. But the ghost was moaning and wavering before us. We'd never be able to get past it.
私のために何でもしてくれる。
You'll do anything for me.
おい、シシド。
Hey, Shishido. Yeah?
俺があいつを引きつけるから、その隙に走って逃げろ。
I'm going to draw that thing's attention. While it's distracted, I want you to run. Why couldn't you have both just gone to the exit and gone to, like, I don't know, a hospital?
やだよ、一緒に逃げて。
What? No way. We'll run together.
俺には秘密兵器があるのさ。
I've got a secret weapon. You what?
俺のばあさんからもらった形見のお守り。さっきあいつにこれを向けたら少し割り上がった。
When I pointed at that thing earlier, it definitely had an effect.
形見の
When I pointed it at that thing earlier. A charm? Yeah.
でも司くんやっぱり危険。
But Tsukasa, you'll still be putting yourself right in harm's way.
まあ、なんとかなるだろう。
I'll be fine. It'll all work out somehow or another.
そんな
That's not...
待ちなさい。
Stay where you are. We really didn't have time to be arguing. It was closing in fast. And as it did, I noticed the spirit's figure had become more defined. She was a tall young woman with her head turned sideways at a 90-degree angle. The tale of Yoshi suggested she fell down a flight of stairs, so a broken neck would certainly
早
fit.
く走れ！
Go! Run! He gave my back a shove to get me started, and with no time to object, I unconsciously obliged. Tsukasa ran too, darting ahead of me for a few short
おい、
moments.
化け物！こっち
Hey,
だ！
ghost lady! Over here!
待ちなさい。
Stop! Tsukasa ran as close as he possibly could to get Yoshi's attention, then turned tail and began heading off in the opposite direction.
こっちだぞ！化
Come
け
get me, you
物！
monster! Amazingly, it worked. The spirit began chasing Tsukasa, leaving me completely
どう
unobstructed.
しよう。私このまま一人逃げてもいいの？
This doesn't feel right. Should I really escape without him? I was torn, but on the one hand, I knew this was my best chance, but I couldn't help worrying about what would happen to Tsukasa if his charm failed. I stopped for a moment and glanced over my shoulder. He was still running, and the shadowy figure was still in hot pursuit.
お守り出して！危ないよ！
Tsukasa, she's way too close. You need to take out your charm.
いいから、行けって！お前が逃げ切ったのを確認したら、俺も逃げるからさ！
I told you to keep going. Once you're out of harm's way, I'll be right behind you, I promise. I still can't believe I fell for it, but this was right about when I realized the truth. Tsukasa had no protective charm. He just made that up so I wouldn't object too strongly to him serving as a decoy while I got away.
やっぱりダメ
No, I can't let him go through with this. I stopped in my tracks and shouted at the top of my lungs.
ヨシエ先生
Yoshi, hold it right there! I wasn't sure exactly what I was getting myself into, but I had to do something, and calling to the spirit's name definitely seemed to have an effect.
あなたの名前知ってるわよ
That's right, I know your name.
おいシスター
Shishido, what are you doing? All at once, the black figure was facing me, though I never saw her turn around. She was flying towards me now, ignoring Tsukasa.
怖くない怖くない怖くない
I'm not scared.
怖くない怖くない怖くない怖くない怖くない怖くない怖くない
I'm not scared, 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 I'm not scared. I repeated this like a mantra and stuck one hand into my pocket, grasping tightly onto the one and only item I'd stashed there.
お前は私を知っているのか
So you know who I am then?
私には本当にお守りがある
Unlike him, I have a real protective charm. Tsukasa's care, his effort, his beliefs, they were right. They were all packed into this pencil, and when you get right down to it, that's what a charm is, right? I squeezed the nummy little thing in my pocket, mentally preparing myself for the confrontation ahead. The confrontation I'd impulsively
シス
initiated.
ター逃げろ
Shishido, you have to run!
逃げない私は逃げないわ
I won't. I absolutely will not.
神様どうかお願い助けて
God, please, protect me. I closed my eyes, lifted my hand from my pocket, and brandished Tsukasa's pencil intently. The gauntlet had been thrown. I was putting a lot of faith into this, and I really, really hoped I hadn't made a mistake in doing so.
私は獅子のゆいこの学校で先生を目指しているわ
My name is Yui Shishido, and my goal is to become a teacher here at this school. I opened my eyes to find that the shadowy spirit, Yoshi, had stopped dead in her tracks. Did it work? Was Tsukasa's pencil keeping this vengeful spirit soul at bay?
私の代わりはいらない死ね
A replacement. Just die! Suddenly, I was whisked off my feet and slammed against the ceiling.
シシドー
I could see him down below. He was staring up at me and desperately leaping. He was trying to catch me, I suppose, even though he was what? Even though he'd never reach. I called out to him over and over again in my mind. If he could get away, if he could survive this ordeal, then it would have all been worth it. Yoshi was drawing near, and I was helplessly pinned to the ceiling. I had no chance at all. There was no doubt in my mind that my life was over. I clung to the relief that I felt at Tsukasa's safety. It was the only thing keeping me from losing my head entirely. Then, all at once, the situation took a completely 180. It was like a miracle.
篠崎よしえ
Yoshi
ここまで
Shinozaki!
にせい
Stop right there! Before I had any idea what was happening, I found myself bathed in a gentle light.
おばあちゃん
The woman from this morning?
守ってやれんですまんなせめてこれ以上邪術が拡大せぬこと
I'm sorry I was unable to protect you, but now at least the evil will spread no further. It was the old woman who had collapsed in front of my house. She was standing down below me, enveloped in a warm glow. The black shadow lunged towards her, and then there was a horrific noise, and the old woman was gone.
シスター
And just like that, I fell to the ground. Whatever Yoshi had done to me, that old woman must have nullified it. That must have been why she came to me in this morning, and why she had come again now. I felt like I was going to faint. Tsukasa ran to my side and gently scooped me off the ground into his arms. Yoshi's spirit was gone. She'd vanished along with the light. Around us now, the only sound was the pitter-patter of raindrops on the school roof.
おいシスターシスター
つかさ
I'd suffered quite a bump on the head from my fall and was decidedly disoriented, but I still had enough sense to put my arms around Tsukasa's
バ
neck.
カ逃げろって言ったのに
You idiot, didn't I tell you to run away?
ごめん も。
I'm sorry, it's just. I wanted to protect you. I couldn't bear the thought of losing you, is what I wanted to say. But instead, I just passed out in his arms. I felt as though I was waking from a long, horrible dream.
おい、大丈夫か？
Hey, you okay?
おい、シシド？
ここ、どこ？
Where are we?
本当に大丈夫か？見ればわかるだろ？学校の保健室だって。
Man, how hard of a fall was that? We're in the nurse's office, can't you tell?
保健室。
Nurse's office. It occurred to me to look at my surroundings, probably something I should have done before asking about them, but in my defense, I was out cold. Beige walls, pink curtains, white beds with solid blue covers. This was indeed the school infirmary, no doubt about it.
どうして？
Why are you...
どうしてもこうしても、お前があんなところで倒れてたから、ここに連れてきてやったんじゃん。
A better question is why you're here. I found you passed out on the ground out there, so I carried you in.
あんなところ？
Out where, exactly?
おいおい、まだ具合悪いんじゃないのか？
Jeez.
肛門だよ、肛門。
Did you get a concussion or something? It was right by the school gate.
肛門に？私、そこに倒れてったの？
The school gate? That's where you found me?
そうだけど。
Mm-hmm. Ring any bells?
私、確かに学校の中でヨシエさんから逃げて。そうだ、腕を怪我して。
I was trapped inside the school and running from Yoshi, wasn't I? Oh, that's right, my arm, it's probably broken.
腕、なんとも、ない？
Wait, my arm's okay?
はあ？腕？
Huh? Your arm?
夢だったの？そんなはずない。だって、本当に痛くて死んじゃいそうだったのに。
Was it really a dream? No, it couldn't have been. I mean, it really hurt and I really thought I was going to die.
ああ、まあなんか様子が変だけど、とにかく無事でほっとしたよ。
Well, you're still a little out of sorts, but I'm glad you're safe at any
こ
rate.
ういうのって虫の知らせって言うんだな。
I guess you could say I had a gut feeling, maybe?
なんとなく気になってお前ん家に行ったら、お前のお母さんに学校に行ったって聞いてな。そし
I
た
just
ら
got
あんなところに倒れてるんだもんな。
I just got concerned and stopped by your house, and your mom told me you'd gone back to school, so I came by to find you, and well, I found you.
司くん、
Tsukasa,
うん。まあとりあえず詳しい話は後で聞くからさ。
yes,
ちょっ
yes.
と待ってな。
Yes, there'll be time for thanks and such later on. Right now, there's something I've got to do, so hang on a sec.
あ、
Okay,
司くん、行っちゃった。
where are you
ヨシエさ
going?
んのこと聞こうと思ったのに。
I wanted to ask you about Yoshi.
あら、シシドさん、目が覚めたのね。
Ah, Shishido, glad to see you're awake.
先生、
Ma'am,
驚いたわよ。三国くんが血相変えて私を呼びに来るんだもの。私が当直でよかったわね。
you gave us both quite a scare. Mikuni was pale as a ghost when he came to get me. Lucky for you, I was working late tonight.
ご迷惑をおかけしてすみません。
I'm so sorry to have troubled you.
それはいいのよ。でも、あなたずいぶんうなされていたから、悪い夢でも見てたんじゃない？
It's fine, of course, but you know, you were really moaning in your sleep. Were you having a nightmare?
悪い夢。
Nightmares.
そうよ。三国くんもすごく心配してたわよ。
It seemed like you were. Mikuni was worried sick about you.
そうだ。やっぱり、
So,
きっと悪い夢なんだ。昼間に怖い話とか聞いちゃったし。
so it really was just a nightmare then? Maybe that scary story this afternoon was just too much for me.
ともかく、もう大丈夫？
Are you feeling a little better now at least?
はい。
Yeah,
そう、よかったわ。
that's good. The nurse smiled cheerfully and disappeared behind the partitioning curtain. Letting out a sigh, I laid myself down on the bed once more. It was dead silent. The rain must have let up. The only sound I heard was an occasional cough from the nurse who was otherwise going about her
そういえば
business.
ペンケース。
Oh, wait, what about the pen case? I thrust my hand into my pockets, not really expecting to find it, but
ちゃんとある。
there it is. The pen case, complete with Chukasa's pencil, pencil talisman inside was present and accounted for, which meant that
私やっぱり教室には行ったんだ。
I made it to my classroom.
やっぱり夢じゃない。
Maybe it wasn't a dream after all.
おーい。
Hey!
あ、司くんおかえり。
Oh, Tsukasa, welcome back. I was still trying to remember exact details about what happened when I unexpectedly felt something cold press against my cheek.
これって。
What are you?
お前うなされてただろ。汗もかいてたし喉乾いたんじゃないかなと思ってさ。
You were sleeping pretty restlessly, you know,
コーヒー牛乳。
and sweating an awful lot, so I figured you might be thirsty. Here, it's Cafe LA.
ありがとう。
Oh, thank you. Tsukasa went out of his way to buy this just for me. It was a lovely gesture. How could I possibly refuse?
お前さ、明日というかもう今日か。推薦の試験だろ。何時からだ？
Hey, isn't tomorrow, or I guess it's today now, but either way, don't you have an entrance exam to take? What time does it start?
9時。
At 9?
あと4時間か。
So in 4 hours then.
もう無理だよ
God,
今日は。
I don't want to even think about that right now, not after the day I just had. I'd been put through hell on earth. Taking a test was the furthest thing from my mind. I was in tears and I had no idea why. Maybe it was because I was so relieved, so glad to be alive.
よし。なあ、シシド、起きれるか？
Okay, hey, Shishido, can you stand? Huh?
ちょうどいいから、お前にいいもの見せてやるよ。
The timing's just right, so I'm gonna show you something good.
いいもの？
Something good?
おう、そうだな。むしろ、お前には見てほしいんだ。
Yeah, or rather, it's something I really want you to see, if you're up to it.
うん。
Sure, I guess. My nose was still running, but my heart felt a lot lighter. I no longer felt threatened by the school. I was comfortable and safe. The two of us left the nurse's office with Tsukasa in the lead, and even though I was holding a cold coffee in my hands, I still felt warm all over. Neither of us said anything as he led me through the empty halls. It occurred to me that when we last saw each other, I was mad at
ほ
him.
ら、シシド、着いたぞ。
Look, Shishido, we're here.
ここって渡り廊下？
What? Isn't this just the walkway between the buildings?
まあまあ、もうすぐだからちょっと待てよ。
Just wait. You'll see it in a minute.
もうすぐ？
See what? I had no idea what I was looking for. I just kept staring at him, but his eyes were fixed on the window leading out into the hot walkway. As I gazed upon him in profile, I felt my heart skip a
昨
beat.
日のこと謝らなくちゃいけない。
I have to apologize for what happened yesterday. But I just wasn't sure what to say. I'd let my feelings get the better of me and reprimanded him for behavior that was, at least at the time, entirely reasonable. There was more to it than that, though. There was one particular reason, more than any other, that made it hard for me to think of the words to say here. He and I had run from Yoshi together. We escaped her wrath against insurmountable odds, and what if that wasn't all just a dream?
お、出てきたぞ。
Bingo, here we go. I followed Tsukasa's pointing finger and...
はあ、朝日。すごい。すごい。
Oh, that's beautiful. What an absolutely stunning sunrise.
俺、ここでよく夕日を眺めてるんだけどさ。朝日もいいもんだな。
It's actually the sunset I enjoy watching most from here, but the sunrise is pretty great too.
綺麗だよ。街がオレンジに染まっていく。
It's gorgeous. The whole town is painted orange.
お、元気出てきたな。
Looks like you're back in good spirits again.
ここって司くんの言ってた例の場所だよね。
This is the place that you were talking about, isn't it?
おう、うん。
Oh, yeah, it is.
今まで絶対に教えてくれなかったのに、どうして今日は教えてくれるの？
You've been keeping the spot from me all this time, so why now? Why are you showing it to me today?
別になんとなく。
No reason, really.
なんとなくって。
No reason, huh? I couldn't think of a reason, but I didn't say anything. It just seemed kind of far-fetched to me, and if I were misinterpreting him, I'd be very embarrassed. He couldn't possibly. Could he? My face felt kind of warm. I placed the sweaty Cafe au lait can on my cheek and sighed
ど
softly.
うした？顔赤いぞ。
You feeling okay? Your face is really red.
そう？
What? It is?
まだ具合悪いんじゃないのか？
You aren't still feeling faint, are you?
そんなことないよ。ほら、朝日が赤いせい。
No, nothing like that. It's just, yeah, it's the sun. It's just the way the sun's playing off my skin, that's all.
ああ、なるほどな。
Okay. Boys can be so dense sometimes.
試験頑張れよ。今からすぐ戻って準備すりゃ間に合うだろ。
Good luck on the exam, by the way. If you head back now and get ready, you should still be able to make
あ
it.
りがとう。司くんのそれ、好き。
Thank you. That's what I like about you, Tsukasa.
それと、あと、ごめんね。
Also, I'm sorry.
なんで謝るんだよ。
For what?
いや、昨日、ほら、なんかちょっと気まずくなっちゃったし、七不思議の話して。
Well, it's just that yesterday things might have seemed a little awkward between us after talking, about that school legend, remember?
そんなこともあったっけ？
Yeah, I think I remember something like that.
そんなこともって、私は結構気にしてたんだけどな。
What do you mean, something like that? I was really bothered by it, you know?
女子はほんと細かいこと気にするよな。俺は全然何とも思ってなかったのに。
You girls obsess over the littlest things sometimes. Me, I didn't think anything of it.
そっか。
Really now? I let out another sigh and turned back away towards the morning sun, stretching my arms skyward as a sudden wave of exhaustion overcame me. The day got brighter bit by bit, and I just stood there, silently trying to piece together all of the jumbled thoughts rattled around in my head. I was running away from Yoshi, and Tsukasa was with me. Then I was saved by that old woman.
やっぱり、夢だよね。あんなの。
It really was just a dream, huh? As the bright rays of the sun washed over me, I felt new life and new hope welling up from within, and I finally came to terms with those horrid events. Most likely, I got the pen case without incident, but then on my way back, something hit my head and knocked me out. That would be just my
あ、
luck.
ちょっとシシド、動くなよ。
Oh, hey, Shishido, don't move.
そのまま。
Stay right there. Just like that. I didn't know what he was planning to do, but he was staring right at me. It kind of felt like he was staring into my soul. And then... What? Slowly, Tsukasa drew his face toward mine.
これって
Is he...
シシド。
嘘。何こ
No way. Is he really going to... I shut my eyes. I was ready for this. Or maybe I just didn't want to look. But the next sensation I felt wasn't quite the one I was expecting.
シシド、これ大丈夫か？
Shishido, what happened here? He grabbed my arm for some reason and was staring down at it intently.
れ何よ紛らわしいな。
What the hell? What is he doing?
やだ、何これ。
Well, what is that? Seriously, I had no idea that was there. Turns out he was just concerned by the strange bruise I had apparently received, which had momentarily become visible when I raised my arms. It was right around my elbow, right where Yoshi had grabbed me in my dream.
痛そうだな。
Looks like it hurts.
全然痛くないけど。
It doesn't hurt at all, actually, but
けど？
what?
なんでもないよ。
Never mind, it's nothing. Giving a wry smile, I gently pulled my arm from his grip.
司くん、
Hey, Tsukasa?
帰る前に一つお願いがあるんだけど。
Before we go home, I have a favor to ask you.
なんだよ。
What is it?
で、繋いでもいい？
Do you mind if we held hands?
手？
Held hands?
手、
Yeah. Just for a little.
ダメかな。
Or is that asking too much?
なんでという彼の言葉には、なんとなくと答えた。
When he asked why I wanted to do this, I fed him his own line. I just told him no
そっ
reason.
と指先を掴んだだけの軽いものだったけど、初めて私はお互いの心がつながっているのを感じた気がして。 ても嬉しかったのを覚えている。
We only joined fingertips, but for the first time, it really felt like I was connected to another person's heart. I remember feeling so happy. And we're back to her apartment.
ゆい先生、ゆい先生
Hey, Miss Yui? Miss Yui!
ゆい先生ってば
Miss Yui, please! I knew I'd heard that voice before, but who was it? Was I just dreaming? Again? I still felt like I was holding Tsukasa's hand, though.
ゆい先生って、
Miss Yui Sensei, your hand! Your hand!
やっと起きた。
Good, you're awake.
あら？え？持田くん？
Huh? What? Mochida?
そうだよ、持田聡だよ。
That's right, it's Satoshi Mochida. I was still dazed. I had no idea what was going on. All I knew was that one of my students, Satoshi Mochida, was here, and he looked concerned.
ゆい先生、いい加減手を。
Miss Yui, your hand is...
え？あら！
What? Oh, my! I finally realized what he was talking about. I was holding Mochida's hand in my own and squeezing it awfully tightly.
やだ！ごめんなさい！私ったら…
Excuse me, please. I'm so sorry.
いいけどさ、ゆい先生、結構握力強いんだな。
It's no problem, though. I have to say, you have a really strong grip, Miss Yui.
あら、そう？これでも昔はか弱く儚い美少女として巷に名を馳せたものだけど。
Do I now? In the past, I was renowned far and wide for being a weak and dainty young beauty, you know.
それどこから突っ込んでいいの？
How exactly do I respond to that?
手厳しいわね。
Well, you could say something nice. Mochida was a good student. He and I got along well, and we were already falling back into our usual pattern of good-natured ribbing,
ちょ
except...
っと待って。どうして持田くんがうちにいるの？
Wait a minute. Why are you here, Mochida?
それさっき話したじゃん。
Well, I told you earlier, didn't I?
はあ、その調子じゃ何も覚えてないんでしょ。
I guess I shouldn't be surprised you don't remember anything.
何も？
What am I supposed to remember exactly?
さっき俺の作ったおかゆ食って薬飲んでまた寝たじゃないか。その時話したのに。
A little while ago, you ate some porridge I made you and took medicine before passing out again. I told you everything then. You did?
本当に綺麗さっぱり覚えてない？
Have you seriously forgotten all of that?
全然。
Completely.
笑えないよ、もう。
Don't laugh. Jeez. Mochida sighed and pointed at the
あれ、
table.
山崎先生からの届け物。
Class notes from Mr. Yamazaki.
もしかしてわざわざそれを届けに来てくれたの？
Wait, did you come all this way just to deliver those?
そうだよ。そしたらゆい先生があんまりにひどい状態だったから飯作って。
Yeah, and when I did, you were in a pretty bad way, so I made you some porridge.
キッチン借りていいって言ったのはモネだから。
Oh, but don't worry, I had permission. Monet said I could borrow your kitchen.
そっか。モネちゃんがね。
Monet did he? I stroked Monet's neck and he lied down contently on my futon. Such a pretty kitty. I was getting kind of wrapped up into petting him as I often did. I almost forgot Mochida was here until he let out a huge
ゆ
sigh.
い先生、玄関の鍵は閉めないと不用心だよ。
Also, Miss Yui, leaving your front door unlocked is really dangerous.
あら、開いてた？
Oh, was it open?
うん。今回ばかりは開いてて助かったけど、でも今後はちゃんと閉めないとダメだからな。
Yeah, and you're really lucky I'm the one to discover that. You really need to be more careful.
気をつけるわ。
Duly noted, thanks.
なんで笑うの？
Did I say something funny?
持田くん、私のお母さんみたいだから。
No, you just sound like my mother.
うわ、複雑。
Yikes, I don't think I like the implications there. I didn't mean to laugh. I must have seemed kind of deranged, but I could always... I could always what? I pressed a button. I must have, but I could always blame it on the fever. Mochita looked at me and let out another sigh. My poor sense of humor must have been getting to him.
でもまあ、だいぶ元気になってきたみたいで、よかったよ。
Well, you sure seem a lot better now than you were when I got here, so that's something.
そうみたい。
I feel better too.
結構寝てたもんな、ゆい先生。
You slept like a rock, Miss Yui.
そうね。確か今朝風邪でめまいがして学校にお休みの電話をしてモネちゃんのご飯を用意してそこから先の記憶がないのよね。
That's right. I woke up this morning feeling dizzy and chilled. I called in sick, put out food for Monet, and I don't remember a thing after that.
あれ、コンビニ行ったんじゃないの？
Oh, you don't remember going to the convenience
コ
store?
ンビニ
The convenience
う
store?
ん。冷却シートと弁当があって、
Yeah, I found cold packs and snacks. Let's see.
ほらこれ。レシートの時間。今朝になってるけど。
Look, the time on the receipt. It was this morning.
本当だ。
Wow, you're right.
もしかしてゆい先生、コンビニ行ったこと覚えてないの？
How could you possibly not remember going to the store?
うわー、もう、しっかりしてくれよ。まさかパジャマで出かけたりしてないよな。
Amazing. That's just... Seriously, you need to pull yourself together. You didn't go out in your pajamas or anything, did you?
そんなことはないと思うけど。
Well, I don't think I did.
どうかな。
I wouldn't be surprised.
笑ってごまかさない。
Don't try to hide behind that laugh.
ごめんごめん。持田くん、私のことずっと看病してくれてたの？
Sorry. Were you taking care of me this whole time,
う
Mochida?
ん。
そう。遅くまでごめんなさいね。
Wow, I'm really sorry you had to stay this late. It was already past 10 o'clock in the evening. I couldn't believe Mochida had been with me this whole time. I felt both guilty and grateful, and I definitely gained a new respect for him.
おかゆ、まだちょっと残ってるから、腹減ったら食べてよ。
There's still a little porridge left if you get hungry.
ええ。
Thanks.
あとそれから、これ。
And I bought these too.
スーパーの袋？
You went to the supermarket?
冷蔵庫を見たら、何もなかったからさ。ついでに買っておいたよ。
Oh, there wasn't anything in the fridge when I checked, so I figured I might as well.
え？
The bag was quite heavy. Inside it was a bottle of orange juice and bananas, canned peaches, apples, and other assorted fruits.
これ
That's
風邪の時って、ビタミンを取るといいんだろ？
vitamins.
それ
When
食べ
you're
て、
s-
早く良くなってよ。
vitamins when you're as sick as you
持田くん。
fudge. When you're as sick as you were, your body needs all the help it can get to fight back. Think of it like medicine. That much fruit couldn't have come cheap, especially for a high schooler. I considered offering to pay him back, but decided against it. I knew he wouldn't take my money, and besides, I really appreciated the fact that he'd gone to all this trouble for me. I'd return the favor another time. If it ever seemed like he was going to be staying late after school, maybe I'd buy him dinner. Or I could help him with preparations for the school festival.
じゃあ俺帰るよ。
Well, it's getting late. I should go.
大丈夫？
Oh,
道
will you
わ
be
かるか
okay?
しら？なん
Do you
な
know your
ら
way back?
途中まで見送りに行くわよ。
If you'd like, I can at least take you part of the way.
大丈夫だよ。ゆい先生は、おとなしく寝てて。
It's fine. Just go back to sleep, Miss Yui.
まだ本調子じゃないんだし。第一、夜道を女の人一人で歩くなんて、危険だよ。
You're not better just yet, and besides, it isn't safe for a woman to walk alone at night.
うん。持田くんは優しいね。そういうとこキュンとしちゃう。
Oh, you're such a sweetie. Seeing how much you care just makes my heart skip a beat.
あれ？そういう
does
こ
it now?
と、俺に言っていいの？
I'm not sure you should be saying something like that to me, Miss Yui.
なんで？
Why not? Mochida and I joke like this a lot usually. It made him blush and get adorably embarrassed. But not today. Today he just grinned sheepishly with a mischievous glint in his eyes. I didn't quite get it. What was his angle?
司くんって、誰？先生の恋人？
Who's Tsukasa, Miss Yui? Is he your boyfriend?
どうしてそれ？
How do you...
ゆい先生寝てるとき、ずっとその人のこと呼んでたよ。うなされながら何度も、司くんって。
You kept calling his name in your sleep. Tsukasa, Tsukasa, you cried, lost in some sort of wonderful dream.
誰なんだよ。
So, who is he? That crafty Mochita had turned the tables on me, and how embarrassing to know that I'd been calling Tsukasa's name.
それは
Well, I hesitated to answer for a moment, but then I figured, what the hell, why not?
司くんはね、私の初恋の人。
Tsukasa was my first love.
ふーん。
Ooh.
その様子じゃ、ゆい先生はよっぽど、その人のことが好きだったんだね。
Judging by your actions earlier, you must have been seriously head over heels for him.
え
What? Why?
だって、先生さっきすごかったよ。俺のこと司って人と間違えてたでしょ。
Well, when I got here, you thought I was Tsukasa. It was unbelievable.
やだ。
Wait, what are you saying?
ゆい先生、顔赤いよ。
Miss Yui, your face is beet red.
これは熱のせいよ、きっと。
It's just my fever, I swear.
ふーん。まあいいや。そういうことにしてあげる。
That's fine. I'll let you believe whatever you want to believe.
あんまり大人をからかわないで。
Oh, come on. Whatever happened to respecting your elders? You shouldn't mess with adults.
だってこんなゆい先生、めったに見れないからさ。
But you're in rare form today. We never get to see you like this. I wasn't sure he was ever going to give me the full story of all the embarrassing things I'd done in my fevered days, and maybe it was better he didn't. Either way, I was in his debt. He could tease me all he wanted, just this once.
やばい。そろそろ帰らないと。ゆかがカンカンだ。
Ah, crap. I've got to get going. Yuki's going to be really angry with
今
me.
日はありがとね。もう暗いから気をつけて帰るのよ。
Thanks for everything. It's dark out, so please be careful on your way home.
はーい。
No worries.
それじゃあ先生、食事をきちんととって、頑張って、早く治してくれよ。
You be sure to eat right and get better ASAP. You hear me?
頑張る。
Of course. I'll kick this in no time.
ファイト
Fight the good
あ
fight.
りがとう。
Thanks.
いい子だな、持田くんは。いかんいかん。あの子は生徒だぞ。
What a good kid, that Mochita. I better be careful, though. He is my student, after all. Don't talk like that.
おいで、モネちゃん。一緒に寝よっか。
Come here, Monet. You sleep with Mommy tonight.
会いたいな。
I miss you, Tsukasa. Chapter 3, Encounter Kaiku, A Chronicle of Past Events. Scenario Yumi Yamada, produced by... Okay, there's stuff. Done. Chapter 3, Clear. Chapter 4, Purgatory. Chapter is now playable. Hiro Shimono, Miyuki Sawashiro, Nobuhiko Okamoto, Soulful Testimonies unlocked in bonus menu.